So you have studied Ayurvedic medicine and these years take a major part of your life. Once you become a doctor, you are committed to healing. And to be a great healer, learning has to become a never-ending pursuit in your life. So doctor, what are you doing to continue this learning?
A very warm welcome to all the doctors, students and practitioners for this AACHAARA.
Learning experience for everybody, even for me also, isn't it? So there is no end for learning. So that's what actually I believe.
Today's subject you are given is psoriasis.
Clinical dermatology.
If you use Vamana on yourself first, then you will believe that it will help.
Spending few hours with a scholar is equivalent to months of time spent reading books. In the name of Acharya Rasayanam, we are bringing excellent minds on Ayurveda with rich expertise in clinical practice. The purpose of this initiative is to guide and uplift the confidence and clinical expertise of every Vaidya. There is a saying, if you cannot be a king, the next best thing is to become a healer, because you are changing people's life, and that is the power of a Vaidya. Acharya Rasayanam is a Ayurvedic practitioner's only CME program initiated by Sitaram Ayurveda's 100th year celebration through Sitaram Research Foundation. Sitaram started its healing journey in the year of 1921. Being a pioneer in Ayurveda, Sitaram extends the healing powers through a state-of-art GMP certified manufacturing plant, government approved R&D laboratory, super specialty Ayurveda hospital, and an NABH accredited Panchakarma retreat. By attending Acharya Rasayanam, you will get the opportunity to get valuable insights on clinical practices, various methods and techniques prevalent in the Ayurvedic medical fraternity from the best scholars. You will be receiving the show notes, certificates, webinar recordings, and the latest updates on your email and WhatsApp. To receive latest updates and newsletters, please send a text to 89434 41881. For more details, log on to our website www.sitaramayurveda.com. Acharya Rasayanam. Great practitioners invest in learning.
Very warm welcome to all of you to Acharya Rasayanam. This is a weekly webinar series by Sitaram Research Foundation and Sitaram Ayurveda Private Limited. We started this as a part of our 100th year celebration. And our mission of this Acharya Rasayanam is to enhance and improve the confidence of Ayurvedic doctors so they can become better Vaidyas. And today's topic is revitalizing cannabis therapy in Ayurveda, an exploration of emerging possibilities. Now, we all know some of the roots of the current opioids or the painkillers comes from these cannabis, and which is highly mentioned in Ayurveda. And today we have a very honest look into this concept of cannabis and how we can bring it back into our Ayurvedic practice. Even though there could be a lot of taboos associated with that, but when it comes to the medical aspect, it can be a real boon if it is applied and prescribed in the right areas and to the right patients. And today's speaker is Dr. Piyush Juneja, a very famous person in social media. He has over 100,000 followers in Instagram and in Facebook. And he is one of India's certified medical cannabis doctor. Now, he is currently practicing Ayurveda physician and also consultant to several national and international organizations for clinical trials, R&D, business development, regulatory affairs, and also in contract manufacturing. Now, he graduated in Ayurveda from Gurukul Ayurvedic Medical College, Haridwar, and he did his post-graduation in clinical research and MBA project management. Now, he is one of India's certified medical cannabis doctor, a very successful practitioner across country with thousands of patients treated till date.
So we will get into the webinar Revitalizing Cannabis Therapy in Ayurveda, an exploration of emerging possibilities by Dr. Piyush Juneja. And also we are having an expert panelist in Dr. Swagata, Dileep, Tavhare, She's an associate professor of Dravyaguna at EVA College of Ayurveda, Supedi, Gujarat. So I welcome both of them to this program. We as well as the participants hope that this being a very novel subject, we'll be able to get a lot of insights into this particular subject. And as already announced in this webinar, the areas discussed will be an approach to cannabis-based practice, legal framework to start a cannabis-based practice, the diversity and applications of formulations based on cannabis, successful case studies, and the evolving possibilities. So I welcome both of them, Dr. Piyush Juneja as well as Dr. Swagata, Dileep, Tavhare into this program. And also today's moderator will be Dr. Rahul R. Nair, Associate Professor of Roganidhana, Ashtangam Ayurveda Vidyapeetham, Palakkad District. So I welcome Dr. Rahul also to this program. And currently we are having about 200 participants. We are expecting more as the time progress. So I welcome everybody, each one of you participants to this program. We are hoping that this will be able to enhance your wisdom and take your practice to the next level. So welcome to one and all from Sitaram Ayurveda and from Sitaram Ayurveda Research Foundation. Over to Dr. Rahul R. Nair.
Thank you, Dr. Ragesh Chiran, sir. Respected Dr. Ramanathan, sir, who is the chairman of Sitaram Ayurveda Pharmacy. Dr. Vaidyas, Dr. Ragesh Chiran, all the eminent people who are assembled here. Our esteemed speaker, Dr. Piyush Juneja, expert panelist, Dr. Swagata, Dileep, Tavhare, and all the esteemed dignitaries, delegates who are attending this session. I welcome you on and all. And here happened to be the 61st edition of Sitaram's AACHAARA Rasayanam webinar. And up till we have dealt with the various topics which are creating lights or shedding light upon clinical aspects, formulations, various procedures, etc. But today the spotlight is on a therapy or formulations based on a single plant. And the star of today's show is none other than Vijaya or cannabis. And as we look into the title of this seminar, we have stated that it is revitalizing cannabis therapy in Ayurveda. That means we have got a potential of a vast wisdom regarding the multiple uses of cannabis in the past, and it has been exemplarily documented in our Samhitas too. But in between, in the period, because of various legal as well as other impediments, there were a short blockade of using this into our daily clinical practice. And many a time, due to many issues, we were a little bit afraid to use that also. And later on, as the modern medicine came up, and they have been using this drug so much in many of their formulations, and there happened a time when we started to depend on them for that. And now the things are going to change, and there are clinicians like Dr. Piyush, who is coming up with revitalizing this drug and extending the formulary of Ayurveda, the pharmacopoeia of Ayurveda. And there are academicians like Dr. Swagata, Dileep, Tavhare, who have done extensive documentation of the practical applications of cannabis in the form of formulations, which is available in the Samhita. So today, we are well supplemented. That means we have got an expert to talk about the clinical and legal aspects, and another person to talk about the academic aspects of this. So let me invite both of you, Dr. Piyush as well as Dr. Swagata Dileep, to this webinar. And also let me invite Dr. Piyush Juneja to first take over this session. Later on, we will hear from Dr. Swagata. And after that, we will be entering into a vibrant discussion session in which both of the panelists will be participating. And once again, Dr. Piyush Juneja, please get into the session, take over the session. Please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rahul. First of all, I congratulate the entire team of Sitaram Ayurveda Institute to initiate this kind of a session. In fact, I from last couple of years I am involved actively in medical cannabis as far as talking or giving these kind of sessions. But this is the first time that any institute and any initiative from South India has taken a lead and taken an initiative that they want to talk to medical cannabis, because what I feel is in South India the potential is huge. The Ayurveda is already established there, but somehow, in fact, I clearly remember, Dr. Rahul, you people took an initiative on Ras Oshadhis and Ras Shastra as well last year when we were having second wave. So I think if we like all the way from, like, I think from my journey when I entered into Ayurveda in 2001 2002, I remember. So from last 20 years, everybody is always looking forward to Kerala, to South India for learning authentic Ayurveda, Panchkarma, and no doubt all these aspects. And we all are always very much motivated by efforts and initiatives done in southern part of the India. However, somehow I feel that if we can add Ras Shastra and medical cannabis also to that, it can it can beat to any pathy, any system, anything in the world as far as treating any medicine, treating any diseases are concerned. So on that note, I want to start this, and I again congratulate and appreciate. I think your chairman sir is there, your director is there, your entire team is there. So I again thanks, and I also welcome my another panelist and speaker here today, Dr. Swagata. So let me just quickly start. And I have to start on the note of, like, you will be discussing about certain case studies and case presentations. I will not exactly start with the case studies discussion, but I want to start with couple of slides, because you people, I can see right now around 260 audience are there. So why you will listen to me for next 1 hour? I think I have 1 hour, Dr. Rahul, for this session today.
Yes, doctor.
Great, thanks. So why you people will listen to me for next 1 hour? That is that main aspect should be first of all understood, because see, with due respect to our fraternity, there are several speakers and several sessions I have seen. They are talking very well. They are talking in a sense that we are able to correlate. But the problem with Ayurveda and the problem with medical discussions are, if you really actually have some footprints and you actually treating the patients and getting the results, then it will be better that we all should invest our time and listen to those speakers. And I always respect to all those gurus and all those clinicians who are actually helping and getting people healed. So that is one point which we need to understand. And Dr. Rahul and his team is smart enough to select speakers. I have seen some other sessions of yours as well in past. So on that note, I would not to start with some examples which I want to share with all of you here today, so that you people will be able to correlate and will be able to understand that how medical cannabis is helping people and helping the fraternity. And there is one feedback, in fact, and this feedback is very close to my heart. And why? Because the lady is the wife of one of our very senior, I will say, he is an allopathic MD medicine doctor. I belong, my college was in Haridwar Gurukul. I did my BMS from their Gurukul. And in Uttarakhand, we have this structure that due to the remote area unavailability of allopathic doctors, they give us some knowledge of allopathic basic as well, so that doctors who are posted at remote areas in hilly regions can help with some allopathic basic primary healthcare, and then maybe they can refer to the higher authorities. So that's why in our college they were having some aspects of allopathic along with the Ayurveda, and he used to teach us the allopathic aspects. And recently, around 1 year back, when I was having a discussion with him and his wife, so she was suffering from fibromyalgia and badly having pains. And you all know about fibromyalgia. I don't want to discuss on that. But the problem was that she has tried all the painkillers, all the neuropathic pain medicines like pregabalin, you can read, and still she was not having relief in the pain. And she was also having side effects. And then somehow they connected to me. They have seen some of my videos and talks on social media about medical cannabis. and I prescribed her CBD oil is one name. I will come to that, why we are calling that CBD oil in the session today. So she got relief after starting medical cannabis, and now she is fine, and she is not having any allopathic medicines. And I think this is one case which I always present, because the teacher who taught us the entire allopathic system of medicine, he is also still struggling, and many allopathic doctors. In fact, yesterday, day before yesterday, also I got a call from one of the leading doctor in our city, allopathic doctor, and many oncologists and many other allopathic doctors are also referring their patients to us. So the point here is, with medical cannabis, although many of them appreciate Ayurveda and they refer Ayurveda, they refer their patients to Ayurveda, still sometimes there are some conflict of interest, or sometimes there are some apprehensions. But with medical cannabis, I have seen those are not there as such. So in that scenario also, we can work in a synergy, and we can work in an integration model with our fellow allopathic practitioner as far as medical cannabis practice is concerned. And another feedback, if you can see, is about insomnia, anxiety, depression, and all. And for insomnia and sleep related issues, and for psychological psychiatric disorders, medical cannabis is a very well working medicine, in fact drug of choice. For pain management, for insomnia, for psychological psychiatric disorders, these are the top indications where medical cannabis is working very well. And from the day one, people are able to see the results. Like insomnia, from the first night, they are able to sleep well without the sedatives, without the harmful chemical solutions which they are having. They can sleep well. And for pain management also, painkillers, steroids, and other medicines, they are tapering off gradually. In fact, from the first week, they can reduce and completely stop their painkillers, and they can be on the medical cannabis along with some other Ayurvedic medicines. You all know that we can give Shirodhara, works very well in insomnia. But sometimes many people are not able to take Shirodhara sittings or that kind of aspect. So we have to accordingly understand that aspect as well. Now again, another case where insomnia was the issue, and they started medical cannabis, and you can see that it is written that, frankly speaking, after single dose, I slept around 7 hours. So this was the first time he was having that kind of sleep and that quality of sleep. By the way, when we talk about insomnia and when we talk about sleep, the REM, the rapid eye movement, is a very important aspect which we need to understand. And these days, all these smart watches, gadgets can get you that data from the patients, that how much duration was there. So the deep sleep, there are stages of sleep. In fact, we have done some exhaustive sessions. Maybe later on, this is the first session we are doing on this platform, but later on we can do specific disease wise sessions also if you people are interested. So in that, we have understood that there are several stages of sleep, and when the person goes into the deep sleep, and there are frequent episodes of REM, rapid eye movement. So cannabis is working and giving us the result to control that REM as well, because the more REM, the more disturbed sleep will be there, the more dreams, or sometimes the PTSD, the past life disorders, or in your current life also, if you have certain episodes in your past that will come on, keep coming on in your sleeps and all, and will disturb your sleep. And if you have some psychiatric problem also, not able to sleep well. So all these issues are gradually getting resolved. And in fact, there is one research study, very interesting research study, by the way. If you are having negative thoughts or negative aspects in your sleep, and for that reason you are not able to sleep well, the cannabis is having the potential, because it's working on endocannabinoid system, which you will understood in this session today. So the cannabis is converting those negative thoughts to the positive thoughts, and decreasing the negative thoughts, and eventually you are seeing the positive dreams or the positive aspects in the sleep, and your REM is controlled, and your deep sleep is more. In fact, that deep sleep is important to get a good quality sleep. And when you are getting awake, you are refreshed, you are feeling light, and that is the phenomena which we have to understand. Because see, sleep inducing is not an issue. You can induce sleep by so many aspects, but maintaining the quality of sleep and enhancing the quality of sleep, and the person is sleeping well, and after the sleep in the morning they are feeling fresh and light, that is the ideal treatment which we can achieve through medical cannabis. And there are some other Ayurveda medicines and Shirodhara and other therapies as well. We have seen very good results from that, but in an OPD clinic setting kind of thing, this can be one of the best medicine. And from the day one, we have seen people taking multiple sedatives like in allopathic. They have reduced or immediately stopped from the day one, and they are taking medical cannabis medicines. Then again a case where the pain was issue, and it is mentioned that the lady was taking various allopathic pain relief medicines, but there were side effects and they were not having like results. And when they started medical cannabis oil, and there are local application oils. In fact, you can fortify, you can enhance your typical Ayurveda oils with medical cannabis local application oils, and you can get better results in that as well. That can be the one line of treatment which you can follow. Now I want to start on that note. As far as these case studies are concerned, again I request all of you to be focused and to be like practice to start practice medical cannabis, because this can be one field and this can be one stream where the entire world is now looking forward. In fact, I'm having a very small clinic in Delhi NCR, and I don't have that much of maybe knowledge of Ayurveda. I'm a very average Ayurveda doctor or a clinician, but still we were able to get featured. In fact, yesterday also we got one story on India Today. So there were three incidences. I want to quote this, and why I'm saying this and why I'm showing this slide is because I want and I believe that each one of you who is listening right now, if you focus and if you start practicing medical cannabis, you have the potential to get featured on these news channels and all these platforms, being an Ayurveda doctor. So definitely many senior doctors and many senior clinicians are getting featured on a regular basis. I'm nowhere equivalent to them. Or many doctors are having paid features, but this was not a paid feature. This was just a company was doing some story, and I was practicing medical cannabis, so they included me. I have not paid anything to them, by the way, or to channel. So why, again, we need to understand, because this is a very upcoming field, but the entire world is looking forward to this. And actually in the research, and this is coming from the West, the research is coming, they have done so much exhaustive work. US, Canada, Italy, Israel, Europe, Australia, many countries have done so much exhaustive research in this particular herb that the entire world is now looking forward. And irony is, it started from India. I will have that discussion in the next presentation today. It started from the India, but still we are very much behind to them as compared to the research studies are there. So first incidence was, if you remember, in 2020, one Bollywood actor Sushant got he died, and there were some issues. So there was some CBD oil in the news, and her friend, his friend Ria, that was in the news. So this media covered their story, and allopathic doctors on record on news channel quoted Dr. Sameer Parekh, is one of the very renowned psychiatrists from Mumbai. He quoted that only Ayurveda doctors are authorized to prescribe this because all the medicines are under the license of Ayurveda proprietary medicine or classical medicine. So then somehow the channel and the company connected to me that I was practicing medical cannabis, and they asked me to give the bite on that. And I shared that yes, we are using in Ayurveda and patients are getting healed, and this is technically a medicine. This is not for the recreational aspect. Second story was in April 2021, when this screenshot that it was there in the research that it is helping in the decreasing of the cytokine storm. So what happened in the second wave, if you remember, so the virus was directly immediately after few days damaging the lungs, and patients were having severe oxygen drop, and they were getting oxygen support or ICU ventilation and all, because the lungs were getting damaged. And interleukin was the reason, and cytokine storm was there, and that was damaging the lungs. So it was seen in the research studies that cannabis is decreasing that cytokine storm. And we have also given to many patients in the second wave. Dr. Rahul and his team is aware that we have done so many social media events, and we have shared so many case studies, and our clinic was selected as one of the best clinic in North India to manage COVID patients. We have managed more than 1,000 patients in the second wave. And we have seen that many patients who were taking already medical cannabis for other issues like pain management, insomnia, or many other issues, they were not that much affected by the COVID. And in recently, in the third study, which the story came yesterday, you all can Google that in India Today, cannabis, if you type on YouTube or Facebook, it is available. So there is a spike protein, which is what is going on is, when virus is getting affected, when an virus is entering into your body, so when virus is going to the cells, so that process has been checked, or that the process has been somehow inhibited by cannabis, by the active ingredient in the cannabis. So that is one research also recently published. These are very initial researches. I'm not claiming or I'm not saying that this can be the treatment for COVID, but in the research studies, it has been seen, and we have seen in our clinic practice as well. So that was the reason that like this was that Sushant case, and these are some stories. So let me just go to the, so this presentation, why I showed all of you this presentation was just to ensure that this can be the one option which like all of you can be on the global map. So my platform, in fact, sorry, I think introduction has been done, but I want to introduce myself once again. I'm Dr. Piyush Juneja. I am the founder of one platform, that is indianvaidyas.com. And the reason of creating that platform or starting that platform was to establish Ayurveda doctors and the fraternity on the global map. First on the Indian map, and then on the global map. Now, when we talk about Indian map, so there are challenges that many of us are not on the first page of Google. The idea was to give the entire fraternity the platform. So we started this, but now we want to duplicate and replicate. So the idea of today's discussion, and maybe what we are doing in the many like cities and all, is that we ask everybody to get involved in this practice. So I request all of you that after this session today, please have that interest and initiative that yes, you, all of you, or maybe any one of you wants to. So all of you should focus, and all of you should take this tip and take this learning, that let's start. And it's not a rocket science. It's very basic aspect which you need to understand, and you can have with certain. Definitely, as you rise and as you grow, you have to do some kind of an advanced certifications. You all can get in touch for that as well. But let's start now the specific presentation, the technical aspects which I want to discuss today. And prior to that, I want to again claim that whatever I will be sharing, whatever I will have shared, are on the basis of my clinical experience. I'm not claiming anything here today. And but whatever we have seen in our clinical experience, all the aspects are on the basis of that. And I again request all of you to understand and to have that thought process, that this particular herb and this particular plant is there with us from last so many years, from the initial aspects to till now. However, somehow I think there were few reasons that we were being ruled by foreign invaders. That was the turning point to destroy or to ignore or to neglect or to give a negative image to this plant. In fact, the irony is those countries who have passed the resolution to ban cannabis in early 1900 centuries are now the front runners of promoting this plant. So you can understand that and why it has been done, because due to the evolving pharma pressure at that time, because they saw a threat in this particular herb. They saw a threat, and the entire world is right now, in fact US, more than 40% opioid addictions have been reduced just because of cannabis. So on that note, let's understand and let's have some more knowledge about this plant. So in our Indian heritage, we have Ved are one of the oldest documents which are having in which we can have so much of knowledge. In fact, Ayurveda is a part of Atharved, we all know. And in Atharved, there are 5 sacred plants mentioned. If you see, I have to share the reference which I was just forget to place here, but all of you can maybe search that. That can be your task for the day. But the point is, so the 4 plants like tulsi, we all worship this plant. Sandal we all apply, and in fact this is so much prevalent in southern India. I think all of you are somehow connected and using this particular plant in your day-to-day worships and your like religious activities. Then neem, again one of the plant with so many antiviral activities and skin and so many other like issues we can handle easily. And jasmine. So jasmine also we worship, we use in worship, we use in offering to the god, and many other like aspects are there. So all these 4 plants are having very positive image and very positive outlook as far as our society is concerned. But the 5th plant, that is cannabis, is having the negative outlook. So that is my first concern. In fact, when I talk and when I discuss this with all the fellow practitioners, so many doctors and so many practitioners are having negative mindset about this plant. Okay, cannabis is narcotics, cannabis is some kind of a recreational or addiction. It's a drug addiction or that or this. It's not like that. We need to understand what exactly is the addiction. Every herb, every ingredient, every thing in this world can be an addiction. Water can be an addiction, food can be addiction or a poison if you misuse or abuse that, right? So in that way we need to understand this plant as well. And in Atharved, if they have mentioned that this is one of the 5 plants as a sacred plant, so that means they understood the properties, they understood the quality, they understood the medicinal properties of this. And in Ayurveda, more than 190 formulations if they have, as far as the classical medicines are concerned. I think our acharyas, our rishis, our ancestors, they were having that much of exhaustive knowledge about this plant, which somehow got derailed or maybe diminished during the years. So first let's understand the particular plant. If you are seeing in this image, so what we need to understand is this particular plant is having so many uses. You can see in the image that stalk, roots, seeds, leaves, flowers, everything can be used in so many aspects. In fact, you will see the hemp revolution is going on in many parts of the world, and in India also. Recently I was seeing some startup, they were having innerwear, hemp innerwear, antarvastra kind of. Otherwise clothes and vastra are like fabric is already there. By the way, the kurta I am wearing right now is a hemp kurta. So this is prepared from the hemp fiber, and it's a very comfortable, very long lasting fiber. In fact, I'm using this from last one more than a year now. So in fact it's better than many other fabrics as well if you do the research. So hemp and cannabis is having so many aspects. If you can see in the slide, it is having more than 50,000 uses. You can have hemp. In fact, in one house in Uttarakhand, they have used hemp bricks to construct that house. Hemp fuel, many companies are doing research. This can be one of the best biofuel and can resolve the problem of fuel in the world. Research is going on. Then cosmetic and many other aspects are there. Beardo, one of the leading brand of our country, has recently launched the entire cosmetic range based on hemp. Now if we are coming to the medical part today in this particular discussion, I don't want to go to, because if you start talking about the hemp benefits and usage, there are so many industries which are connected. But specifically if you talk about the medical part, so the most important part is the leaf. Right now the internal medicines or the external application oils in cannabis medical practice are predominantly from the leaf. And the difference between the leaf and flower is if you understand, and like I think many of you are aware, so when we are talking about ganja, when we are talking about cannabis, when we are talking about the recreational aspect of this plant, they are from the bud or the flower, right? Which is still under the narcotics, which is still having illegal status in our country right now in India. Although many countries have legalized, but in India it is still now it's illegal. But the medicines which are being prepared are from the leaf, so that is legal. That is not in the purview of Narcotics Act. In the Narcotics Act, it is mentioned the leaves and the seeds are not in the purview. Seeds are with having nutritional value. Recently, in November 15th, FSSAI has approved and listed hemp seeds and hemp seed oil under the food category, right? So they have approved and they have given the status hemp seeds as food in our country. That is that we need to understand. Is the leaf. So these two are very much. So if you get product seeds, hemp seed oil, hemp hearts, these are from the seeds in which the nutritional properties are very much they are having the best ratio of omegas, omega 3, omega 6, omega 9, which is only available either in the fish oil or in the hemp seed oil. So for the vegetarians, for the vegans, this is one of the best source of omegas. This is one of the best source of the protein. One of the highest ratio of protein are available in hemp seeds, and hemp seed are like superfood. They are considered as a superfood, right? So so many countries have adopted this, and they are having hemp cookies, hemp chocolates, hemp they are infusing hemp in so many food as a food ingredient. So in India also now it will be coming up. Many companies are looking forward to launch certain products as far as hemp seeds and hemp seed oil is concerned. So that is the nutritional or food aspect. Now when we are coming to the Ayurveda or the medical practice, so the leaves are the crucial part which we need to understand. And the extract of the leaves are there. Some classical medicines like Trilokia Vijayavati is having the leaf powder, the dried leaf powder, 62.5 mg with Vanshlochana 62.5 mg is equivalent to 1 tablet of Trilokia Vijayavati. But when we go to some more proprietary medicines, like mostly we have tinctures, I will come to the dosage part and you will understand more on that. And so then the leaf extract is the more prevalent. We have some capsules, tablets also available. Oral tinctures are the prevalent one as far as medical cannabis practice is concerned. So this is the plant which we need to understand, and accordingly we need to take it forward. Now again, as far as the species of plant is concerned, so cannabis sativa, indica, hybrid, these are the species. Problem in India is we can't differentiate among the species in the raw material scenario. Why? Because the problem here is, although this is included and this is legal, still the raw material is under the purview of excise. So only Uttarakhand has approved the contract cultivation, but many states are still, what they are doing is, so for example in Uttar Pradesh, in our state, so it is available in the wild area, so excise is extracting or pulling the plants from there. So as far as in raw in the raw material aspect, so the excise department is pulling up the plant. So they are just mixing up various species. We don't know what kind of species are coming to the medicines. So they are supplying to the companies and they are getting the leaves from that and they are manufacturing the medicines. So that kind of aspect is there still. So it will be evolving gradually in our country as well. Now few other states are coming with the policies. They are in the verge of launching the policies. So there can be more contract cultivations, and then maybe we can have, because each species have their own active ingredient ratios which are being researched worldwide. But in India till now it is a bit challenge. The synonyms are Vijaya in Ayurveda, Bhang we all know, hemp, cannabis. The word which are used in recreational aspects are weed, ganja, marijuana, hashish, joint, pot. So all these words are being used in the recreational aspect. And recreational, again, I need to emphasize, are related to the flower or bud part of the plant, not from the leaf, because the psychoactive component, that is THC, and that gives what gives us high, is not that much in the leaf. It is there in a mild level. It's kind of a suggestion. So but still there are some issues like legal status, medical use, addictive potential, medical and psychological consequences. All these are some issues and some controversies also, which we will be understanding quickly in the today's session. This I have already discussed. So these are some strains, as I said. In Western world, if you go and if you read and study, so they have that much of research that they are aware what exactly there in the sativa strains, what exactly there in the indica strains, what exactly there in the hybrid strains. But this discussion right now in India is not that much relevant, because we don't have strain specific medicine in India. We just have a cocktail of you can say raw material which is there, but still it is quite effective because it is full spectrum. I will come to that point in forthcoming slides. So now in US and in many other countries, they have removed hemp from the controlled substances. They are promoting this. Many countries have approved as a recreational as well. And FDA has approved some medicines also, like the first medicine they have approved is Epidiolex, which is in the pediatric epilepsy conditions. And still see, it's not about cannabis, it's about the entire Ayurveda or the herbal medicines. They have issues, so they will never position this as a full-time medical aspect or medical treatment. So they have the challenges in their country, but they are gradually evolving. And as far as endocannabinoid system is concerned, see, endocannabinoid system, and by the way, in India, in that slide, just a second. Yeah. So this is about West, but in India, so in India, the current status is it is approved in Ayurveda as Schedule E drug. In Ayurveda, in Schedule E1, if you see, cannabis is mentioned, and so it has to be given only through the prescription. By the way, the internal medicines. Narcotics Act is excluding the seeds and the leaves part of this plant. So let's quickly go to the previous slide. This one. So the narcotics have excluded the leaves and the seeds part of this plant. So you can all use that, you can all prescribe that, you can all give to your patient. You will not come under the purview of narcotics. But if you are giving some internal medicines, you have to give through the prescription. The external application oils or seeds can be given without prescription as well. So if you see the websites and the like cannabis companies, whenever somebody will ask, they will seek the prescription. Either they will connect to the in-house doctors which are available on those websites, or they will ask for an Ayurveda doctor or any other doctor prescription. Technically, only Ayurveda doctors are eligible, right? So that is also one reason which we connect, and we understand that this particular industry and this particular fraternity is respecting prescriptions, because the entire Ayurveda is being positioned as OTC right now. Everybody is selling products on television, newspapers and all. So Ayurveda doctors somehow are not giving that, not getting that much of importance which this industry is giving right now to us, because there are regulations and there are legal aspects as well, and this drug is a bit sensitive. So they don't want to sell it without prescription, and that's why by virtue of that law, although many other medicines are in schedule E, like the Rasoshadis, the heavy metal medicines, some wish dravyas are there in schedule E, we have some medicines from Afim, Ahifane and Bhallatak, and all these wish dravyas are also there in schedule E. But still some companies are not following, many companies are not following that they are only giving through the prescription. But this particular medicine is with prescription only, and all these companies are following that. So now when we understand, and when we, like, maybe you people are thinking that I am talking and I am showing you the case studies. One side I am showing it is helping in the pain management, and it is also helping in the sleep, it is also helping in the for example, several gynecological disorders. We had a session yesterday on gynae disorders. In fact, all of you can follow our YouTube channel, Indian Vaidyas, where you can get so many sessions and so many recording of the sessions where you can follow and have the exhaustive knowledge. So maybe you people are confused, and you people are like not able to correlate that how one single medicine can act to different systems or to different indications. So the answer is endocannabinoid system, which I sometimes correlate to Vata in our Ayurveda. If we study this more, and if we understand this more, because if you understand from Ayurveda perspective, Vata and Kapha shaman is there as far as cannabis is concerned, and it is Pit Prakopak. So Pittaj Prakriti people, you should be a bit cautious. You should give them some Pit Shamak Oshadis along with the cannabis. Ushna Virya is there of this particular herb. So you have to be a bit cautious when you are dealing with the Pittaj Prakriti or Pitta Prakopak issues. But for Vata and Kapha, this is one of the best medicine. And so Vatas Vyadis, we are getting best results. So that's why I somehow correlate system to Vata. This is my hypothesis, which we have seen. And when you understand more ECS, when you correlate more to the ECS, you will also connect that to the many aspects of Vata Vyadis. So cannabinoid receptors are there in the entire body. And basically what happens is, when we are giving cannabis, so there are phytocannabinoids, or there are plant cannabinoids, predominantly CBD and THC, which are binding with these receptors, CB1 and CB2. You can see in our body, in the entire body. So there are human endocannabinoid system. So all these receptors are present in various systems, starting from the brain to the digestive system, to our limbs, periphery, and all bone, eye, pancreas, gut, kidneys, CB2, and you can see that CB1 are more in the motor activity, in the brain, in the thinking, appetite, and it controls the entire many systems. In fact, the entire physiology of our body is being controlled by cannabinoid system. And when these plant cannabinoids, when we take these plant cannabinoids, so what they do is they bind with these receptors, CB1 and CB2 respectively, and they act as a lock and key mechanism in which they enhance the neurotransmission of the cells, and also heal and repair various cells and tissues. So this is the very basic and first level of understanding for all of you. As we move forward, and as we understand more about cannabis and various organs and various systems, we will develop more exhaustive knowledge around this. But to start with, as the first session we are doing today, please understand, and again I repeat, The endocannabinoid system is there in the entire body, human endocannabinoid system. You all can read more about this. And there are CB1 and CB2 receptors. And when we give cannabis to any human being, so these receptors are getting activated. These receptors are getting first of all, the plant endocannabinoids. There are more than 100 active cannabinoids in cannabis plant. The predominant are the CBD and THC. And so such CBD is is the main ingredient. That's why, like I mentioned about the CBD oil, in one testimonial which I conveyed to all of you. So CBD and THC are the main ingredient, and THC is the cannabinoid or the ingredient which gives the high. So the THC is more in flower and bud, very minimum in the leaves, and negligible in the seeds. In seeds, THC is 0. So that's why seeds are being approved as OTC. All of you can take that. You will not get any high. Problem is when we listen cannabis, we have the negative perception. But I think many of you must be using, or your mothers or your family will be using khaskhas in your kitchens. And if you say, and if you talk that khaskhas is what? Khaskhas is poppy seeds, opium. So when you correlate khaskhas with afim or opium, nobody will be interested to digest that piece of information, and there can be the negative perception. But the same aspect is there. So hemp seeds are very nutritious and very fruitful for every one of us. You all can have in your diet. But problem is it is related to cannabis or related to bhang. So people think that by taking hemp seeds maybe they can get high or what. No, there are negligible levels of THC in the hemp seeds, so you'll not get high, you'll not get any kind of a psychoactive issues. With leaves there are very minimum. As a medicine, when we are giving in adequate dose, you will not get that much of high or that much of psychoactive issues. But with flower and bud, issues are there. So the recreational, the dependency, the addiction, everything is related to flower and bud, not with the medical cannabis. There are so many research studies which are available, which has proven that as far as the medical cannabis is concerned, there is no dependency or addiction, because the THC levels are very minimum in leaves. But yes, still you have to be very cautious, because the next thing which I want to discuss is the dosage. So you have to be very cautious when you are giving medicines to the patients, because uh, it's a bit sensitive herb. It's a bit like potential herb which can have certain side effects when you give in the overdosing form. But when you are giving in the controlled dose, it will not have that much of issues. So there are various forms available as far as medical cannabis dosage are concerned. There are pills, capsules, liquid tinctures, topicals, extracts, patches. Flower or vaporization is not that much in India right now. By the way, in worldwide it is available. So when we understand these dosage forms, we need to understand first point, which is very much important for all of us as a clinician. See, the bioavailability of any drug or any like medicine when we are giving is the thing which we need to understand. And in various research studies, it has been proven that the bioavailability of cannabis is maximum when given in the vape form. Second highest bioavailability is the sublingual when we are giving the tincture. So technically the sublingual aspect is being like from where it has been absorbed. So when we are giving that, so we are asking patients to hold for a minute under their tongue. Like for example, we are starting with 6 drops or 8 drops of that tincture, which is an oil based tincture. So basically the extract is there. The ethanol extraction or the CO2 extraction has been done in our country to get the extract from the leaves, and that extract is mixed with the carrier oil, and then the tincture has been prepared. So that, like for example, 6 drops or 8 drops we are giving to a patient, so they have to hold for 30 seconds to 1 minute under their tongue, and from there it will be absorbed from the sublingual glands. So that is the second best bioavailability form which is there, and there will be minimum side effects, because when we have seen in the oral like tablets or capsules or pills, so sometimes the gastritis or constipation, that kind of side effects can be there. Although this is one of the safest herb, no death has been reported till now in the entire world where the reason is cannabis. So if you like, generally we have 30 ml bottles of tinctures, so if somebody will drink the entire bottle, nobody will die. So it's not that much of risky or fatal, but still the administration should be checked with the adequate dosage, because there can be some kind of sedation, deep sleep, hallucination, dizziness, drowsiness, dry mouth. These are some side effects of this particular herb. So if we are very much aware about the dosage, how much dosage we have to give, then we will be able to take it forward. Otherwise, for topicals, like you can apply, and very good results by the way we are getting as far as the local application of these medicines are there. And some companies are will be developing patches, but pills and capsules are also good, because then in that way you can have dosage regulation, that you can ask them to take one capsule or two capsule in a day, or one or two tablet. Generally we are giving two tablets twice a day after meals. As far as classical like Trilokia Vijayavati is concerned, 50 mg or 75 mg some capsules are there which we are giving one BD, one morning, one evening. Tinctures generally we are starting at night or evening time. By the way, for insomnia, when you are giving, just give 1.1 1.5 hour prior to the bedtime. Means when person is just lying on the bed to get a good sleep, not at that time, just around 1.5 hour before that time, because then it will take around 1 hour to get absorbed and to get the result or the effect. So after that, they can just go to the sleep after an hour, and that will be a good sleep for them. So that understanding we need to develop, and accordingly we need to convey to the patients. Also just ask them to have the dose whatever you have prescribed, because see, any medicine have that threat and potential. In fact, I remember when I was in college, one of our batchmate, she took by error two cetirizine tablets. It's a very common medicine in allopathic, but she got hospitalized for that. So every drug and every medicine, in fact in Ayurveda also, so many rasaushadhis, which dravyas are having that potential, that if somebody will take out of the dosage or whatever the dosage we have prescribed, so that can be have, that can have issue. So that is the only thing which cannabis also have. Otherwise it's pretty safe, it is pretty effective. That negativity of dependence, addiction, everything is just pseudo rumors which I say, just to paint this particular herb negative, because the entire industry will be threatened when this herb will be practiced by more and more doctors like all of you. It's an actual threat, because we are able to convert at least around 5,000 patients till now. They are withdrawing from the allopathic system of medicine, and they are taking, so many patients have stopped taking painkillers, steroids, sedatives. So it's technically a threat. And if one doctor can do, I think right now 375 doctors are there in this Zoom call. So all of you, when start practicing, they will definitely. And when we are seeing that in Ayurveda, see, one aspect is also there, that in Ayurveda many times I have seen as a clinical practitioner that initial few days are a bit challenging, because sometimes Ayurveda will take some time. But yes, with Panchkarma, that we can address very well. From the day one, the therapies will show result. But I'm talking about an OPD clinic, and Ayurveda OPD clinic just with consultation and medicines. So cannabis in that way also are helping us to, at least from the day one when they are getting relief in their pain. And with other Ayurveda standard of treatment, we know that in few months we'll be able to get them the relief. And same applies on other indications as well. Also, in Ayurveda, it is mentioned as Yogvahi, which we have seen for cannabis. So it is acting as a catalyst. So means, like for example, PCOD, we used to get healing in 6 to 8 months earlier, in the ovary size and the cyst being dissolved or healed. But when we have added cannabis, we are seeing the same results in 3-4 months as well. So sometimes it is acting as a catalyst, and it is decreasing the entire duration of the healing as well, because of endocannabinoid system, because of healing the cells and tissues, because of increasing the neurotransmissions, because of increasing the cell permeability, because of the drugs are absorbed better and more in the cells and tissues due to cannabis. So there can be so many, because in fact the person is happy. For happiness also it is related. For mental well-being also it is related. So in all the de-addiction, by the way, alcohol, tobacco, smoking, so many patients we have seen that being de-addiction, it is very effective medicine. And patients are getting reduced from day one. One of my senior, I remember, he's a medical doctor, he used to smoke. So he shared that feedback that day one my cigarettes of around 10 to 12 has been reduced to 3 to 4, and now I'm on the stage of stopping the entire cigarette smoking, due to just because of he just started one capsule in a night. As far as medical, in fact he attended some CME, we have given him the samples and he tried that, right? So that is the idea, and that is the way to promote this particular herb, is that it can help in many ways. And I request all of you to be aware. And I think we have next 5-10 minutes to conclude. So there are some indications again which are very much there. See, again, I don't want to diversify, I don't want to dilute the thing. All these diseases which I mentioned are research based. In the entire world, there are so many research is going on, and they have seen healing properties of medical cannabis in these indications, and especially the full spectrum. Because see, what is happening in US and other countries, they are isolating, they are just extracting one active ingredient, that is like CBD or THC, or they are doing practice, or they are focused on that. But we are lucky in India that in India Ayurveda is saying that you are not supposed to extract anything, then it will not remain Ayurveda. So the theory is you have to take the entire leaf, and that is known as the full spectrum medicine. Means the entire spectrum, the entire cannabinoids, the entire active ingredients are there in the medicine. It's not that we have just taken the CBD from the cannabis and we are producing the medicines. Then it will come under the phytopharmaceutical of our country law, which will be under allopathic. They have taken so many active ingredients from so many herbs in our country, we all are aware about that. So then it will not remain Ayurveda, right? So in these indication and in these diseases, world is now evolving, and they have seen that full spectrum is very much effective. Like there was one latest study from Israel, that in autism they have seen that full spectrum cannabis is very effective in managing the cases and in healing them. And so many other, Crohn disease, again, it's one of the drug of choice. Ulcerative colitis, Crohn disease, it is one of the drug of choice, and many patients are getting benefited. Cancer, uh, again, it is one of the best herb which has been proven to convert the cancerous cell into the non-cancerous cell. But the problem with cancer management right now in India is, in US and many countries, they have derived medicines from the flower and bud, because the THC which I mentioned you is a psychoactive compound that is very effective in high ratios of THC, are very effective in cancer patients. In fact, I request all of you, after this discussion, today is Sunday, so maybe afternoon, evening, whenever you get time, you can watch a documentary on Netflix that is Weed the People. So WED, let me just type that in the chat box. So why I am asking you to do this is because, see, in US there were few kids who were suffering from deadly cancer. Just a second. Yeah, Weed the People on Netflix. I've just mentioned in the chat box. So this documentary is showing that these kids who were suffering from deadly cancer diseases are being administered cannabis along with their standard of care, chemotherapy, radiations and all. And allopathic doctors of US, oncologists, pediatric oncologists, medical oncologists, surgical oncologists of US, on record in this documentary, are saying that this is the first time that I have seen this much of recovery in these kind of kids. In fact, I think only 1 or 2 kids died. Every other kid survived, which they have declared the prognosis is not good. One kid having like I think many patches in the lungs got resolved in the scanning report after a few months, and doctor was also surprised, and their parents were also very much happy. So when you see this kind of documentaries, you will understand the potential of this particular plant, and especially in cancer management they have shown this. But in cancer management, the flower and bud medicines should be there more and more. We are fighting for that. We are in discussion with few states, at least they should approve for the medical aspect. Let's hope that they will do in some time. But right now in India that is not available. But for leaves medicine also, like we are giving to many cancer patients. So at least for the pain management, in Medanta, one of the leading hospital in our Delhi NCR, one medical oncologist referred to me. So they have tried all the painkillers, the highest level of opioid analgesics they have tried, but the patient was not getting healing in the pain. And when we started cannabis, from the day one, the pain has been reduced. So that kind of results we can see in quality of life, in reducing the chemotherapy cycles, in giving them the best pain management of any therapy. I think cannabis is very effective in that aspect as well, in the cancer patients also. Then definitely for nervous tissue damage, central nervous, and many other, epilepsy, again one of the drug of choice, and we are getting good results in many cases in epilepsy, especially in the pediatric epilepsy, we have seen, along with other Ayurvedic medicines you can use. And all these are other indications which you can practice and see the results. Specific, so many rare diseases and so many diseases where nothing is working. If you start cannabis along with other Ayurveda medicines, you will definitely get results. And we have seen in our practice that many patients are getting results from this. They were getting exhausted with existing medicines or issues, and so many rare diseases. In fact, I remember one patient. So the last disease which I mentioned is Tourette syndrome. One lady came up and she was having this, and she asked me that you are aware about this disease, you know about this disease, because I discussed with many doctors, but they are not aware. So I said yes, because I'm practicing medical cannabis and I have at least 5 patients right now Tourette syndrome. So she was very much impressed, and when we started medical cannabis to her as well, and she is doing very well right now. Parkinson, Alzheimer, all the degenerative disorders, we have seen very good results, because it is somehow checking or delaying the degeneration further, and it is also improving the quality of life as well. So again, starting from the pain management to the degenerative disorders to the digestive disorders like colitis, IBS, menstrual cycle issues, dysmenorrhea, endometriosis, PCOD, ovarian cyst, very good results we are seeing along with other Ayurveda medicines. So all these are the indications which you can follow, and specifically for opioid use, it is there was one study that it has reduced opioid addiction, and in US, and why it is so much popular in West, by the way, if you study and if you track that many US states have approved, in fact they have legalized the recreational as well, because US was suffering from opioid addiction. What happened was, due to their lifestyle and due to their this overall day-to-day lifestyle and the evaluation of that country, but still people were having so much issues in their pain, in their sleep, in their so many aspects, and in allopathic only opioid analgesics were the last solution for them. But for that also they started developing the addiction when somebody started opioid analgesics. So due to that they got into the addiction kind of thing, and for recreational also they were using opium and all. But opioid and opiums destroy the body. Any drug which you are addicted destroy your body. I don't want to advocate here in this session today, but still if you do a analysis on a recreational front as well, like for example, smoking will cause cancer, nicotine, tobacco, cigarette smoking will cause cancer, and cannabis will reduce the chances of cancer. Again, I'm not advocating any recreational use, but I'm just comparing. Alcohol will damage your body, liver and other organs. Cannabis will heal that. Opioids or other drugs will damage you entirely. Cannabis will heal that. So cannabis improves in a moderate dose. In a medical administration, it can actually heal, it can actually de-addict you from any of these issues. And we have seen in so many research studies that opioid addiction was reduced 53%. The data is mentioned here. It is a very significant number. That's why the entire world is legalizing. Australia is approved that, as Thailand is first country in Asia. They have legalized cannabis recently. Many Muslim countries, by the way, many Islamic countries, they are so much strict about all these recreational aspects like alcohol, smoking and all. They approved medical usage of cannabis because they also know the potential of this. Like for example, Malaysia, Dubai. So they have allowed UAE, Malaysia, they have allowed medical cannabis. They have permitted medical cannabis because they know the potential of the healing. Otherwise, they are very strict on the other recreational drugs and all. In fact, many more countries will be joining in that as well. Right. So that is the potential, and that is the thing which we need to understand. All these studies which I have shown you, like this one is from Israel, a pain study where around 3,000 patients were given the questionnaires. Those were suffering from pain during the cancer, and around 69.5% have said that they have improved their quality of life after using cannabis. So it's a very significant number. If 70% are saying that their quality of life has been improved by using a particular herb or a particular medicine, I think that is a very significant number. So I think I will stop here. All these again I have already shared, and this is the last slide. We got selected on this news channel also in last second wave, and as you can see some are the paid, but Dr. Tanuja is from All India Institute of Ayurveda, Dr. Anuj is from Gwalior, and I am there from Ghaziabad. So from North India, they have selected few genuine clinics also along with the paid sponsors which they are there. But the point is why we got selected and why we got these kind of results. There are two reasons which I dedicate. This is for the second wave, the Delta, the most deadly variant till now. And the two reasons are: one, the Rasashastra, the Rasaushadhis which we practiced, and second is the cannabis, the medical cannabis which we practiced during that time. So on that note, I would like to take a pause here. And I think there are so many questions which are there in the chat box. So maybe we can start having the discussion around the questions also. And hope I was able to justify and address certain issues. If anything left, please let me know. I can talk on that aspect as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Piyush. You have done wonderfully. You have covered different aspects, including the legal, clinical, as well as even it extended to the recreational use. And I could remember the days of COVID, where me and Dr. Naveen Chandran has phoned you. And we came to know you about as a person who is battling Delta wave of COVID with the Rasaushadhis. And at that time, after that only, we could know that you are practicing cannabis also. So I think there are a lot of questions here in the chat box. And before going to the discussion, let me invite Dr. Swagata Dileep Tavhare to have her presentation. And then we will have a combined discussion of both of you together. And I think all our delegates are waiting for that too, because I think you have given a lot of leads, so that a lot of questions can come up now regarding different spectrum of diseases in which can be applied. And you have mentioned one classical formulation too, that is quite interesting, Trilokya Vijayavadi. And we all are waiting to know more about that also. And before that, we will have Dr. Swagata here. Dr. Swagata is an associate professor at IVA College in Gujarat, and she had been a PhD scholar at Jamnagar, Gujarat Ayurveda University, and had been guided by Dr. Revitalizing sir. And she has done extensive review of the therapeutic applications of Vijaya, which is available in Samhita. And also she is a person who is thinking a bit differently. Her PG dissertation was regarding the influence of lunar patterns on the growth of Ashwagandha. So that's point to the liveliness she showed in her academics. So let me invite Dr. Swagata. Please take over the session. Please enlighten us with your words.
So good morning to all, and the time allotted to me is around 20 minutes, so I'll try to justify within that. And Dr. Piyush sir has kept the cannabis high with the almost 385 participants. So now it's challenge for me to continue that for the further 20 to 25 minutes. And right now, let's start with some funny things, like India is suffering from COVID wave. So we are talking through webinar platform. Right now we are suffering from cold wave in India, and this webinar is coming with cannabis wave. So 3C, COVID, cold and cannabis wave is going on at the present situation. And the organizers on the platform of 100 Legacy of Sitaram Pharmacy has very well hit the topic of cannabis, and it's very much interesting. And the interest is seen from the number of audience as well. So the topic allotted to me is understanding of cannabis from Ayurveda perspective. So I am working, my introduction has been given already, working as an associate professor in the department of Dravyaguna, and I have done my MD and PhD in the subject of Dravyaguna from prestigious ITA and RA, Jamnagar. So let's start with some slides and some introduction on cannabis. So what exactly is cannabis? So simply, it's a weed and one of the fastest growing plant across the globe. So each and every word you just I'll request all audience to think on that. So it is a weed. It's one of the fastest growing plant across the world. It is available in 3 different species, that is cannabis sativa, cannabis indica, and cannabis ruderalis. And it's mentioned in Ayurveda with the name of Bhanga and Vijaya. So why we are rethinking on cannabis? It's already, as far as the audience from the Ayurveda is concerned, it's already mentioned in Ayurveda. But why the time has come to rethink on cannabis? So there is a huge medicinal and therapeutic value. Western countries right now are extensively researching on the cannabis for its medicinal purpose, like in cancer pain, or for the management of cancer, for the management of epilepsy, for the management of terminally ill patients, Parkinsonism patients, the patients of anxiety, depression. So extensive research is going on. High industrial market, the hemp, which is a rich in CAD, or the fiber species of the cannabis, it is used for the preparation of some canvas, paints, some shelves, shoes, even biodiesel is prepared from the hemp, cloths are prepared, plastics is prepared. Most important that hemp fibers are eco-friendly. And it is also, cement is also prepared from the hemp. And in ancient time, the Ajanta Vellore caves that are prepared from this cement, which is mixed with the hemp. So there are a lot of even cosmetics products are also prepared from the hemp species. So there is a huge industrial market. So commercial aspect, medicinal, therapeutic, all aspects are coming on the one platform by hitting one drug. And right now, within this 10 to 20 years, there is tremendous research work going on the cannabis, and especially the endocannabinoid system, which is exclusively related with this plant. So why we are rethinking? Because now the weed has market value. But why we have fear? And where is the fear? Fear is because the legal concern, the NDPS Act of 1985, that is Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act, in which Schedule E1 drug, the cannabis has been included. Addiction forming nature from various media platform, magazine platform, newspaper, we are hearing somewhat about the cannabis. It's habit forming nature, it's addiction forming nature. In the kids, they are getting addicted for the cannabis or the charas-like products which are derived from the cannabis. And if at all, as a practitioner, we are thinking to prescribe cannabis, then we are somewhere stuck up with the availability of the quality medicines. So we are confused somewhere. What is the confusion? Confusion is whether it is a medicinal drug or a recreational drug, whether it is a highly potent or it has a high adverse effect. It is narcotic or it is therapeutic. It is psychoactive or it is non-psychoactive. Species like cannabis sativa, cannabis indica, cannabis rudriolis. What is ganja, bhanga, charas, marijuana, hemp? These are the words associated with this plant. And they are coming into the media or they are coming into the research with different names. So what exactly it is? And then somewhere we are coming with a nutshell that the cannabis is helpful for medical purpose. It's good nutrition. Hemp seeds are good nutrition. And it has a huge industrial value. So what exactly is the answer for this all kind of confusion we have coming with, we are there, it is there in our mind. So let's talk about solution. Solution is understanding cannabis. Dr. Piyush sir has well justified many aspects, research-based aspects and the clinical-based aspects of the cannabis. For understanding cannabis broadly, if we say, we have to go with 4 areas: the legal concern, what is the Ayurvedic aspect, what is industrial value, and what is recreational cannabis. So right now I have been asked to talk about the Ayurvedic aspects of the cannabis. So in Ayurveda, it is mentioned as a Bhanga or Vijaya. So where it is mentioned? So I have gone with the review of this 27 Nighantu, 9 text and Chikitsa Grantha and 36 Rasa Grantha. So it's found that almost 11 Nighantu has mentioned cannabis and 3 Sanhita Grantha has mentioned a description about the Bhanga. And 13 Chikitsa Grantha, 26 Rasa Grantha has extensively given the therapeutic uses of cannabis. So what are how it is classified? So Bhanga is classified under Guruchadi Varga, Lakshmanadi Varga, Haritakyadi Varga. In Shaligram Nighantu, it is mentioned as an Ashta Varga. And in Rasa Grantha, it is mentioned under Upavish. So if we see, initially classics has not talk about the vishakta effect or the poisonous aspects, or we can say the narcotic aspects of the cannabis, but it was used under Harita Kadi Varga or Guduchadi Varga, which are also, in which the other plants of a therapeutic value are only mentioned. So it is has been placed under such vargas. But later the impact of narcotic is also concerned, and with that aspect it was mentioned in Upavisha, and it's been advised to use in therapeutic or the preparation of formulation only after the shodhana process, or we can say the purification process of the bhanga. So confusion, one more confusion, what are different terminologies, right? Some says ganja, some says charas, some says hashish, and what is this medicinal cannabis? So cannabis is a terminology that's a correct word for describing the plant or its products. Hemp, when we say it is a fiber source which will have low psychoactive compound, that is delta-9 THC, which is a psychoactive component of the cannabis, and it will have the higher concentration of CBD, and CBD is a non-psychoactive one. When we say ganja, weed, or marijuana, it's a resinous flower or the fruiting shoots of the cultivated female species. See, there will be one female plant and one male plant in the cannabis species. The female plant is having the higher psychoactive constituents. When we say bhanga, it is a mature leaves along with the seed proportion. And as per the NDPS Act, the leaves and seeds are excluded from the legal restrictions, and that can be used therapeutically, provided the leaves or its formulation are mentioned in 54 books of the Ayush books, which are mentioned in DNC Act. So your formulation should fall into that category. Charas, when it is said, it is a separated resinous extracted from the cannabis plant. And when we say hashish, it is a purified concentrated resin extracted from the cannabis. So we are in Ayurveda, we are only talking about bhanga, which is a leaf and seed portion. And mostly it is used in the formulation, and it is out the purview of the NDPS Act. So what's interpretation? So if we see what description of bhanga in Ayurveda, it is described by Bhavaprakash as Bhanga, Ganja, Matulani, Madini, Vijaya, Jaya. So these are the different synonyms. In synonyms also they have given the caution that the drug can cause murder, that is intoxication. When they are talking about the therapeutic aspect of the cannabis, they have attributed it to the bhanga, which is a leaf part, right? So bhanga, kafahari, tikta, grahini, pachini, lagu, and vanni vardhini. These are the things which are associated with its the therapeutic values and its qualities. When it is said as a tikshna, ushna, pittal, these three words, the physician has to be cautious. Like when to where to prescribe. So it should be avoided into the pitta pradhan patients, or it should be avoided in pitta predominant diseases. So that is the yukti praman, what we say, that is a very specialty of the Ayurvedic physician. So why the maximum ADR reported by the modern researcher or the modern clinicians? Because they are not using this concept of Tridosha theory, which is very exclusively mentioned in Ayurveda. So Tikshna, Ushna, Pittal, these three qualities to be always kept in mind, and mostly the therapeutic indications, it will go into the Vata Kaphaj disorders. At the same time, Moha, Manda, Vaka, Vardhana means this ADR has been well mentioned that if the excessive uses of cannabis or the higher doses are mentioned, or the improper indication it is mentioned, it may create Moha, Vakavardhans, that is a pralap like irrelevant talk, what we say. And nowadays what we are saying that tactile hallucination or the auditory hallucination are associated with the cannabis. This is what if it is used in high dose or with the improper indication or for a long time. So apart from Bhavaprakash, the other texts, they have given the actions like Vyavayi, Deepana, Grahi, Medhya, Rasayan, Vajikaran. For Vajikaran and Rasayan, n number of many formulations are described by the Ayurveda, and also Madakari activity, pharmacological action, is been attributed to the Bhanga. So when we are saying Vyavayi, as the Sharangara has said, Purvam Vyaptam Akhilam Kaya Tatah Pakacha Gacchati Vyavayi Tadyatha Bhanga Fenam Cha Ahi Samudbhavam. So in this quote, the Vyavayi action two drugs are well mentioned, that is bhanga and ahifene. So the products like phytoconstituents derived from the bhanga, that is THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, cannabidiol and cannabinol. And from ahifene, morphine is extracted, but morphine is legalized to use, but for cannabis there are restrictions. So why this restriction has came? There are certain, as the sir has also said, there are certain political things are also associated with to keep the cannabis in legal concern and not allowing all practitioners to use the cannabis widely as they can prescribe morphine. So the indication like Grahani, Jwar, Visuchika, Shul and Anidra, these are the, for this wide number of formulations are available. Purposefully, I'm not giving the modern equivalent term because whenever we are thinking bhanga from Ayurvedic perspective, we need to prescribe it when we are diagnosing patient from the Ayurvedic principles. So if we are talking about the antipyretic effect of the cannabis, so that's why we are not mentioning fever, because when we are dealing with the Ayurvedic jwar, we have to prescribe cannabis for the Vat Kapha jwar, and we have to specially exclude the Pitta jwar. If we are prescribing in Pitta jwar, then definitely we will only come with some ADR. This drug is causing these side effects. So that is the beauty. We have to give the Ayurvedic diagnosis and accordingly we have to use the drug. Action on mal, it is a grahi. That's why used in Atisar also. It is a widely indicated. Sveda Janan, that's why used in fever. And if we see the Strotas approach, Ayurveda has prescribed cannabis for the Annavaha Strotas disease and Shukravaha Strotas disease. Purposefully, there is no mention of cannabis for the Manovaha Strotas. Right? So therapeutically for Annavaha Strotas, Shukravaha Strotas, base Samprapti is there. There we have to use cannabis. So our confusion, that slide what we discussed, some of the points are cleared here. One more thing, when we are talking about hemp, when we are talking about marijuana, so hemp is CBD rich and it is legal, it is non-psychoactive. Marijuana, when we are saying it is a THC rich, so THC is a psychoactive, and that's why it becomes the illegal for the right as a prescription also or for the possession also. But those THC is a psychoactive, or we can say highly psychoactive, still medicinal properties of the cannabis are very well associated with the THC component also. So the Ayurvedic concept of Shodhana of bhanga, here it is well justified that if we are processing bhanga, like what I have done in my PhD thesis, that I have processed with the water wash method, which is mentioned in Ayurvedic Formulary of India also. So with this processing, 35% of the THC is reduced from the sample. So the narcotic activity we are reducing, or the psychoactive effect is we are reducing, and the medicinal properties is getting enhanced when we are processing cannabis or bhanga. So these are my two articles already published on the formulation, that is exploring pharmacoclinical view on bhanga. In these formulations from whole classics like 41 Rasa Grantha, almost 36 Chikitsa Grantha, 9 Nighantus, everything, what are the formulation available on classics that are mentioned in this article. Bhanga as an activity potentiator in Ayurveda classics and Indian alchemy. In this article, the formulation in which it is levigated by the bhanga, or cannabis is used only for the bhavana dravya. These formulations are compiled in this article. So in a nutshell, if I say there are total 367 formulation of the cannabis or the bhanga in the Ayurveda, in which 102 formulation is having bhanga as a major ingredient. 91 formulations are having bhanga as a minor ingredient, and 157 formulations are been levigated by bhanga, or the bhanga is used as a bhavana dravya for the formulation, and 17 formulations are there in which it is used as an external application. So how this major and minor ingredient is calculated, I have calculated the total proportion of each formulation. Say for example, if one formulation is having 10 content, so 9 content total what we say the total value or total counting, and one cannabis, that is bhanga, its proportion ratio has been calculated. So if the ratio is coming as a 1:1, 1:2, up to 1:6, then I have considered the bhanga as a major ingredient for that formulation. And if the other ingredients are in higher proportion and bhanga is used, but it is in very minor proportion, then it is considered as a minor ingredient. So that categorization is also important for the overall effect of the bhanga in that particular formulation. So I'll just in nutshell, I'll guide that how to study the formulation of bhanga and how to analyze. So if we go in classical texts, the description of bhanga is not only on the name of Vijaya or bhanga, but there are 33 different synonyms. So we have to go by the synonym based studies also. So part use in the formulation water, part use available, that is leaf, seed and whole plant. These three parts are used in 357 formulations. Nowhere they have used the ganja portion, nowhere they have used the hashish portion, or nowhere they have encouraged us to use the resinous part of the cannabis. So proportion of the cannabis in the total formulation, whether it is used as a leviation media, what is its indication. If you see the 357 formulation in which cannabis is there, there are 56 indications for the cannabis based formulations, and major indications are like grahani, atisar, shul, anidra, vajikaran and rasayan. These are the major indication. Then after jwar, important and repeated formulation. So there are many formulations like Lai Churna, Madan Kamadev Modak, Kameshwar Vati. These are formulation, Gangadhar Churna, Bruhat Gangadhar Churna. These formulations are repeatedly copied by the other text also. So if you are going through one text, you will find Kameshwar Modak. There are 10 texts which have describe the same formulation. So repeated formulations become our drug of choice. Why different texts have commonly used this formulation for the specific indication. If we go by dosage form, 24 different dosage forms are available for the cannabis based formulation, out of which Gruta form, Churna form, Vati and Tel and Modak. These are the frequently advised forms of the cannabis based formulation. If we go for the time of administration, even the time of administration of certain cannabis formulations are mentioned, and it is from OD to TDS. Like some formulation are exclusively explained for a OD purpose. That is, if I go, that is morning time once a day. Gokshuradi Pak is mentioned. Madan Modak, if you have to prescribe, it should be prescribed only in morning time and once a day, as per the classics. If we are going further, like night time and once a day, that is Kamdev Vati, Madan Prash Churna, they are prescribed only at a night time and once a day. Only at the evening time, once a day, Madananda is Modak is prescribed. So if we are going by the classical way, we have to follow the proper dosage form as well as the time of administration. If we see a duration of administration of cannabis based formulation from a 1 day to 365 days, up to that time, different formulations are being described. For example, Vasadi Kwat is one formulation in which cannabis is there, bhang is there. It should be given up to 7 days. There is one formulation, Kumari Asav, in which also bhanga is there. It is in different adhikar, for which it is prescribed to give only for 15 days. And one formulation, that is Kameshwar Modak, it is prescribed up to 1 year, up to 365 days. So we have to follow the time and duration also. Some specific anupan is mentioned for cannabis based formulation. And if we go through classics, there are 49 different anupan, which are disease specific, that are mentioned. But most commonly and frequently prescribed anupana is Godugdha and cows, that is cow's milk. Second one is milk plus sugar. Third one is milk plus shunti, that is zingiber powder. So these are the things also we need to consider while prescribing cannabis, because the anupan is also having some effect or to neutralize its adverse effect or the narcotic psychoactive effect. For that, anupan is prescribed. Important do's and don'ts are also given for the cannabis based formulation. For example, Talkeshwar Ras is one of the formulation. It should, whenever we are prescribing to the patient is should be asked to stay in cow shed. That is very specific instructions they have given. And one formulation is there, Agastya Rasayan, in which Bhanga is added. For that, they have said, though it is a Rasayan, but it is a Rasayan for all common people. There is no restriction as such we advise while giving Rasayana therapy. For Agastya Rasayan, no such restrictions are advised. A common man can also take this Agastya Rasayan. There are certain processing technique like water wash method, that is washing cannabis leaves with water. And one is boiling cannabis leaf in a cow's milk for 3 years. And the other one is boiling cannabis leaves in a decoction of Acacia arabica, that is Babulatwak. It's a decoction for 12.5 minutes. So these are the 3 methods given by Ayurveda classics, and out of for the processing of cannabis. And out of that, water wash method, washing with the water till the greenish color leaves out. From in this method, the trichome part of the leaves is getting thrown with the water or washed with the water, and the trichome contains a volatile oil which is having THC. And this method is been recommended by Ayurvedic Formulary of India also. For ADR management also, there are some advices or some hints are given by the Ayurveda. That is, if there is some adverse effect we are seeing whenever we are giving Bhanga therapy or the Bhanga based formulation, then Godugdha Pan to be given to the patient, or the Nimbu Swaras to be administered, or the curd processed with the Shunti, or the milk processed with Shunti, that should be given to the patient if we are finding some sort of side effects into the patient whenever we are keeping them on the Bhanga therapy. So I'm not going much into research aspects because that is not topic allotted to me, but some studies I have done. So this is up to 2018 studies what I have searched on for the cannabis formulation. These are the different indication. For pain, 158 trials has been done. So accordingly, for each indication, the number of trial which are available in standard journals that I have calculated. So there are total 850 plus trial. Maybe last 2 years it's been added more. So there are 850 plus research trials are there on the cannabis and cannabis products. And if we see the output of this trial, then this cannabis is or the cannabinoids are acting on this nervous system, digestive, urinary, reproductive, integumentary system, and musculoskeletal system. So the modern science has been, they are trying to see the effect of cannabis in almost all systems. But if you see Ayurveda is totally focused on the Annava Srotas and Shukrava Srotas. And Anandamide system, this is a magical innovation in the history of science, as this system, it affects the central as well as the peripheral nervous system. It is mediated primarily by CBN receptor when it is acting on the CNS, and CB2 receptor when it is acting on the peripheral nervous system. These CB2 receptors, they activate the immune system as well. This is the reason why now in Corona pandemic also cannabis is getting researched upon for its effect on the COVID management, because it is helping to boost the immunity. It is sensitive. This Anandamide system is sensitive to THC, and Anandamide plays a role in regulation of the feeding behavior and neural generation or motivation or the pleasure. And these are all are research-based finding. It is also said that estradiol and gonadotropin level seems to involve in the regulation of anandamide. So the anandamide system is acting on CNS, PNS. Also, there are so many associations that it is helping for the glucose metabolism. It is helping for the lipid lowering effect in the body. That's why it is also helping for the for the management of cardiovascular diseases. So there are n number of researches now ongoing on the anandamide system as well. My PhD study article, if anybody is having interest, that is processed cannabis. I have tried on the chronic cancer pain. It was a pilot study of 24 patients that is published in IU International. All the things have been mentioned in this article. And animal study I have done before the clinical studies for checking the on processed cannabis, it's an analgesic effect as well as the sedative effect. So in this study, I found that the analgesic potency is still there after Shodhana process, but sedative effect is lowered after Shodhana process. So that is the beauty of Shodhana, which is given for the Vishadravya or Upavishadravya in Ayurveda. So thank you. I wish all to be safe, and if any query is there, we can answer this later on. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you once again for the wonderful presentation. And all of this happened to be very new information for me also, because the so-called system called anandamide system, the endocannabinoid system, which are intricately placed in our body too, but that will respond to this magic medicine of cannabis. So before going into the vibrant discussion session, let me invite Dr. Ragesh Siran sir to have a product presentation. Sir, please.
So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to a small presentation from Sitaram Ayurveda. Today, unfortunately, we don't have any cannabis product to present. So I am resorting to some of the main patented proprietary products from Sitaram Ayurveda. As you know, this webinar series, which is today we are having our 61st episode. This is a part of Sitaram's 100-year celebration. So 100 years of healing legacy, Sitaram Ayurveda. One of our major brands, Satin soft gel capsules. Satin soft gel capsule is one of the leading brands which is being used effectively in lumbar spondylosis and sciatica. It's a powerful combination of Rasna Saptakam Kashayam and Gulguludiktam Kashayam fortified with Nirgundi Swarasam in Erandadailam base. So this forms the base of this product. It's a potentiated product. It comes in as an Avarti. And another highlight regarding this product is that unlike most of the other products in the market, this is in a stronger 1 gram capsule form, of course, at an affordable price. The dosage is 2 BAD. So here is our Satin soft gel capsules, an effective remedy for lumbar spondylosis and sciatica. Next is another unique product from Sitaram Ayurveda. It is called KG101 soft gel capsules. KG101 is nothing but Shiraguluchi 101, very similar to our Shirabella 101 or even the Anandaram 101. This is Shiraguluchi, Guluchi potentiated with milk in Tilatailam base. So as you know, Guluchi is the ultimate in arresting joint degeneration rigidity. So our KG101 soft gel capsule is very effective in rheumatoid and degenerative arthritis, and also it can be supportive in the treatment of gouty arthritis using the various other Ayurvedic medications for gouty arthritis. This can be a supportive in treatment of gouty arthritis. So here is our KG101 soft gel capsules for rheumatoid and degenerative arthritis. And the third product in our arthritic range, Saplin plus liniment. It is effective in muscular pain and joint inflammation. It's a traditional combination of anti-inflammatory Chincha Patra Swarasam basically, along with the volatile oils like eucalyptus oil, lemongrass oil, powered by Pudina and Ajamoja Sattu. It's quick acting in sprain, stiffness, frozen shoulder and back pain. It's not only giving that counter-irritant property, but it is having also anti-arthritic and anti-rheumatic properties as well. So this is one particular importance regarding our Saplin plus liniment. It is being presented in bottles of 30 ml. This is one of our masterpieces for the past 15 years, Alarkand powder and tablet. It basically is a combination containing Haridra, supported by Triphala and Trivir, added with Gokshuram and Kasisa Vasmo. It is effective in the various kinds of allergies pertaining to respiratory as well as skin. It is good for pruritus, dermatitis and urticaria pertaining to the skin, and also it is good for allergic rhinitis, eosinophilia and asthma for improving immunity power against various allergens. It is highly palatable, non-sedative, and also provides natural protection against allergies. Alarkand powder and tablet. Now the recently launched menstruosap soft gel capsules. Menstruosap soft gel capsules is very effective in dysmenorrhea, oligomenorrhea, secondary amenorrhea, and PMS. It is recently being reported to be by many doctors to be very effective in the other PMS, which is the post-menopausal syndrome as well. It's basically the synergy of Saptasaram, Gandharvastadi, and Ingu Ajadi, strengthened with the uterine tonics, Vrikshamblam, and Chinja, along with Erantathylam. Erantathylam is the base. So this is all about menstruosap soft gel capsules, and it can be utilized in conditions associated with PCOS and endometriosis where no bleeding is involved. So it is contraindicated in severe bleeding, and it is very effective in the reduced bleeding conditions like dysmenorrhea, oligomenorrhea, secondary amenorrhea, and premenstrual syndrome. Menstruosap soft gel capsules. Now another important classical product from Sitaram Ayurveda, Shiva Guliga. We are presenting it in Vibhitaki Pramanam, that is 4.5 gram per pills. So that's the importance regarding our Shiva Guliga, Sitaram Shiva Guliga, which is being presented in Vibhitaki Pramanam, which is exactly what is mentioned in the textbooks. 4.5 gram per pills, the ultimate Shilajadu Rasayanam. And it is effective in metabolic, liver, spleen, and urinary disorders. And it can be used in diabetic complications, including impotence. So here we are presenting our bigger sized 4.5 gram pills, Vibhitaki Pramanam Shiva Guliga from Sitaram Ayurveda. Now all the details regarding our products as well as our services, and also regarding this webinar series AACHAARA Rasayanam can be obtained from our website www.sitaramayurveda.com. We are sending e-certificates to all the participants who are attending this webinar for more than 75 minutes. We are sending the notes and the recordings to the email ID which the registrants use for registration by the subsequent Saturday. That means that today's notes and recordings will be made available to you through email by Saturday, coming Saturday. And if you could not find that mail in your inbox, please check your spam folder. You will definitely find it. Also, kindly save our email ID to your contacts. Our email ID is support@sitaramayurveda.com. This is the email ID from which you will be getting the certificates as well as the notes, recordings, etc. So if you would save this email ID to your contacts, it will be easy for those mails to land in your inbox itself. Now, for any support from Sitaram Ayurveda regarding our products, regarding our services, or regarding this webinar series, AACHAARA Rasayanam, kindly contact our customer relations manager, Mr. Rajiv. Mr. Rajiv, he can be contacted at his phone number 90726 13194. Mr. Rajiv, our customer relations manager, at 90726 13194. His email ID is crm.osk@sitaramayurveda.biz. So kindly contact him for any support from Sitaram Ayurveda. Thank you very much. Back to Dr. Rahul Nair for the continuation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now, let us start the most vibrant session of discussion, wherein we are going to have our doubts cleared from the expert panelist and speaker. Okay, so the first and foremost question, I think a very relevant question came here is, what do you mean by actually the certified medical cannabis practitioner? How can you get certified for that? I think the question will be answered by Dr. Piyush.
See, we need to understand as far as the certification is concerned. First of all, in fact, related to that question, there was another question that do we need any other aspect to practice cannabis? So kindly note, cannabis is just one plant and one herb in Ayurveda. So if you are an Ayurveda doctor, technically if you are a BAMS, the basic qualification, all of you are eligible to practice medical cannabis, and because technically in India, the medicines are right now either Ayurveda classical medicine or Ayurveda proprietary medicine. So as an Ayurveda doctor, you can practice both as far as your practice is concerned. Now let's go to the certification aspect. So see, what happens is, the problem here is, as this herb got banned And in our colleges, in our institutions, at not there. I in fact appreciate and congratulate Dr. Swagata having this kind of knowledge and this kind of initiative that she has taken, because there are very less graduates and postgraduates in Ayurveda still in our country who have that much of understanding or knowledge about this herb. Now, if we talk about the clinical practice, so definitely we need to gain more knowledge. Like last from if you see around 2013-14, I started. First time I came across because there was some clients from Canada. I used to work for them, and then they like introduced me to this particular thing, which was more prevalent at that time in that country. But in India, it started around 2-3 years back. So from 3 years, I also started getting knowledge, and there were some international certifications. In fact, recently I qualified one certification from Academy of Cannabis London, and that is, I think, I'm the first doctor in India to qualify that, because that is a very exhaustive. I took around 2 years to clear that, because that is a very exhaustive knowledge. So what we thought is, let's have some basic certification in India as well for our fellow Ayurveda practitioners. So we started that also on our platform. However, there were some queries from departments and ministries which we have resolved now. So we are in the stage to start that, and all of you can get enrolled and take it forward. But that is a skill-based program, just to enhance your knowledge and just to give you an idea that how you all can practice medical cannabis. But otherwise, if you just gain knowledge on your self-learning by reading online, by talking to practitioners who are practicing in India, although there are not much, and if we are doing these kind of sessions, maybe Sitaram Ayurveda and Dr. Rahul and his team can create some kind of exhaustive sessions as well, because I have seen some more queries in the chat box and in the question answer that people need some more detailed session also. So today was just first introductory session. So there can be so many models and so many various options in which you people can enroll and take it forward in terms of gaining knowledge. So first is gaining knowledge. Still, I see myself as around 20% because there is so many vast knowledge available as far as cannabis is concerned. Entire world is doing research. So we need to update ourselves, because see, end of the day, when we are practicing cannabis, we are being positioned as the leading practitioners across the world, because now the entire world is on a global platform. So you should, on one side, we should have exhaustive knowledge about Ayurveda, which again Dr. Swagata also mentioned some aspects, and you all can read and go back to the textbooks. But on the other side, the modern research, the various forms on which the research is available, and the more and more data. And prior to that, the endocannabinoid system is so vast. The entire cannabinoids, in fact, it's not only cannabinoids, by the way, in cannabis plant. Apart from the cannabinoids, there are terpenes and flavonoids as well. So when you study about the terpenes, in fact, terpenes are available in so many other plants and herbs also. So when you study more on that, and you study and you understand the mechanism of action, you will be better positioned to practice. And the other part is the dosage, which is very crucial. Drug interactions there are with some drug, you need to be aware. So all these aspects, when you grow as a clinician, you will understand in the certification. So you need to understand what kind of certification and what kind of knowledge you have to gain. There can be two aspects. One is the academic, which Dr. Swagata and maybe other academicians are having. And second level is the clinical, because sometimes the clinical and the clinical practice is entirely different, but we read and understand in an academic setting. So as per that, you can, maybe all of you can start and have that thought process. I've shared my email ID and number as well. So because today we have limited time availability, so anyone wants to get more in detail, please let us know, and accordingly we can take it forward.
Okay, Dr. Piyush. When we stand at this point where you have introduced us regarding the clinical and legal aspects of using cannabis, and Dr. Swagata has dealt extensively regarding the classical formulations. As an onlooker, let me ask one important question. That is, when we practice cannabis, what all are the formulations available for a practitioner in the outside market? You have mentioned Trailokya Chinda, Trailokya Vijayavadi. Likewise, can you mention some classical formulations as well as some new range formulations I have seen, like Kenna Pain, Kenna Flam, etc. are coming to the market too. There are some companies that are promoting their own OTC level products too. So can you shed some light on the range of products from which one can start practice?
Yeah, so I need to start my discussion with two segments. One is the classical medicine, and another is the proprietary medicine. Now, as far as the classical medicines are concerned, so definitely Trilokya Vijayavati, Kameshwar, Vodak, these two medicines are there with 2-3 companies manufacturing these medicines right now in India. The only thing which we need to understand is still these medicines and actually the entire raw material of cannabis is a bit expensive. So there are some cost variations, but you all need to be smart enough as a doctor to connect with them and take it forward. And that is one point. Second is Bilwadi Chun also, I think few companies are coming up with. But apart from that, there are no as such good companies manufacturing any other classical medicine right now, as per my knowledge. There can be some local companies who are doing some manufacturing at because we need to also do the standardization, and we also need to check the companies if they are maintaining the quality and that kind of aspect as well. As far as the proprietary medicines are concerned, you absolutely mentioned about some names. So basically these proprietary medicines are predominantly in the form of oral tinctures because the bioavailability of oral tinctures are best. So the leading companies, if you talk about, are in India, Bombay Hemp company is there, which is working from last 7-8 years. Then Ananta Hempworks is from Delhi. Then Vedi Herbals is also there, but there are some issues with them in past in terms of the quality. I got one question also with they mentioned about some THC issues, which I also agree and we have seen in patients. So as I am saying, there are so many companies which are there, like Niogra, Happy Hemp, like Trost, many brands and many companies are coming up these days. But the problem and the point which we need to understand, and as a doctor, is in fact it's not about cannabis. To any Ayurveda company, like for example, I have some nice products from Sitaram Ayurveda, and I will definitely connecting with them. So what we do is we ask for some samples first. So let's have some samples. Let's take some clinical experience or from your patients, and then gradually what is the maximum discounts they can offer to you. As a platform, we also recommend and accommodate these kind of aspects to all of you. So in that way, all of you can connect with all these companies and take it forward. So you need a basic information, you need all the list of the companies and details. So the best is what we are doing is we are sharing your details with the respective companies. They are connecting with all the doctors and they are taking it forward. And but be cautious and always first check the credibility, check the footprints from how many years or months they are in practice, what kind of, there are some lab certifications, some lab reports, some batch analysis reports, toxicity reports, all these are also there. And last but not the least, very important point I want to mention here, it's about cannabis, it's about Ayurveda as well. So now some companies are directly positioning these medicines to the patients, to the customers, but some companies are going through the doctors, the doctor model. So what we need to understand is we should support and encourage those companies who respect the doctors and who wants to go to the doctor model, because the entire Ayurveda is being positioned as OTC, which we always convey. So when you are dealing with the companies, please check all these details, what exactly their marketing strategies, what exactly they want to do. At least the prescription products they should en route through the doctors. OTC definitely no issue, they can market cough syrups or balms or whatever, but the prescription product should get enrouted through the doctors, which again we all appreciate. Like for example, today Sitaram group is at least taking care about the doctors, and they are doing these kind of events because they believe that through doctors and through enrouting these medicines through doctors is the best way to promote the ethical practice which is there. So in that way, cannabis also should be taken. But still, if you need more information, many companies and many brands are available on our platform as well. We only promote and we only advocate those companies who follow these guidelines. So you all can check our Indian Vaidyas website, Facebook page, YouTube channel, and you'll get all the details. Still, you need any further guidance and support, do let us know. Write to us. Our email ID, contact details are available on website, and we will be happy to help all of you. We already helped so many Ayurveda doctors to all these companies, and they are practicing. And in fact, many companies are helping you to market yourself as medical cannabis doctor, as promoting your digital marketing, your profile building, your PR activity, publishing about yourself, printing about yourself in your areas and all. So many support activities are also going on, because this is a very new field. Still people are not aware. For example, you are in Tiruvananthapuram, you are in Kochi, you are in Calicut, where city you are in Kerala, are you practicing medical cannabis or not? Nobody is aware about that in your area, in your city. So how you to, because see, as a clinician you have a challenge that you have to focus on your clinical practice. So all these things are also taken care of. We also have started one page on our website where we are listing all the medical cannabis doctors in India. So all of you can get in touch with our digital team as well. So accordingly you can take it forward.
Thank you. And I'm passing the same question to Dr. Swagata Dileep for adding some of her comments too.
Sir, one more formulation which is available in market is Jati Faladi Churna. Basically used in patients of colon cancer, and generally for common symptoms they are not advising, but for colon cancer patients and chronic IBS patients or the Crohn's disease patients, for that formulation can be used. And proprietary medicine, some oils are available from this. I think Canamera, one of the company, they have their website also. They have some oil-based, local application-based formulation. These are certified formulations are there. They have given some percentage of cannabis into the formulation, like 1,300, like grades are there. Like according to severity, you can change the dose, and the dose are also available in drop forms. So that is one of the formulation. Bombay Hemp companies also, as sir said, they are also actively into the cannabis formulation. But I think they are more into the industrial aspects of the preparation of cloths and all these things. But medicinal aspects, that Vedi companies formulations are there. That's Canapen is there, Kameshwar Modak is there. And one Canamera I have been in contact, so they are preparing some oils, and they have some concentrations of cannabis. And they're saying that is some pain relief balms are there, and some hemp seed oil is also there, which is seed oil is used for the nutritive purpose. So, and extract oils are at the range of 340 milligram up to 1,500 mg. That concentration of the cannabis they have maintained into the extract oil. And these all are extracted from the leaf. And they have some the licensing for the possession of this possession as well as the manufacturing. So that is also one of the important thing. Means when we are dealing with the practice of cannabis, it is safer way that we should have some licensing from the district excise or the state excise as well. Yes.
Thank you, madam. Now let me invite Dr. Anjala Suryanarayana Patnaik, who is a senior doctor, to have his comments. Sir, please.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
Sir, as analgesia, leaves are better, or stem is useful, or root is useful, very much in the carcinogenic pain-related cases.
So this question is to Dr. Piyush and also to Dr. Swagata. Which part, he is asking, which part is more useful for analgesic purposes?
As in our lecture, we discussed only about leaves only. As in ethnoidal practices, the remote villages of the country, they do not have such a legal obstructions. They practice themselves. So by knowingly, unknowingly, they use leaves or something. But we have to clear here, stem is very much benefit, or root is very much benefit, or the leaves are better to have relief from the carcinogenic pains.
See, we need to understand, as far as any kind of pain is concerned, how we are getting relief from cannabis is through one main ingredient, that is THC, which is very much responsible for healing pain, along with other cannabinoids like CBD and other cannabinoids as well. But the main component is THC, which is helping, and especially in the cancerous pain you are saying. And that is in the three options which you have discussed, that is stalk, root, and leaf. Leaf is having the highest ratio of THC. Stalk and roots are negligible as far as THC is concerned. Although flower and bud are also having, in fact, they are having the best ratios of THC. And in West, as I said, in US, Canada, and other countries, they have approved flower and bud also for medical usage, and that is the best solution. Whenever it will be approved in India, I think that will be the best solution for any cancer patient, not only in pain, in fact, but in the reversal of cancer or in the reducing their chemotherapy cycles. In fact, there was one research study in US. They have done that research study and they have come up with the data that there is a 50% reduction in the chemotherapy cycles whenever we are starting cannabis, specifically from flower and buds to the cancer patients. And also there is a 50% reduction in the recurrence of cancer also among them. So they have done these kind of studies. They have done some long-term studies as well of around 10 years. So, but yes, as per your question, the answer is leaves. That is having the best ratio right now. In fact, in India, we only have medicines prepared from the leaves, not from the flower and buds. You want to add on something, Dr. Swagata, to this?
Out of three, if you are asking, the leaf is having the highest, but same thing, sir. Actually, then from legal perspective, the question has been asked, why you are only talking about the leaf? Because now we want to escape from the legal perspective also, and we want to add with the therapeutic value also. That's why we are talking on the leaf, sir. Actually, the THC point of view, we see, as sir said, the resinous part is having more THC. But now, if we are looking into market, now the cultivation research is also going on, in which they are monitoring or they are fixing the proportion of THC, CBD, and other constituent as well. So, and accordingly, with the tissue culture, they are coming with the certain plants, species of the cannabis having defined proportion of the THC. And so it should not, it should add with the therapeutic value, and it should not go into the category of narcotics. So, but this trial, I think, is going on in CSIR Jammu. I think that side they have got the licensing for cultivation research, and these things are going on. Because right now, what Ayurveda has given the description of bhanga, they have not specified any kind of species. They have generally termed as a plant as a bhanga, and it's a weed plant. You can, in north side, you can easily available. It is easily available on the roadside as well. But now when we are talking on the basis of constituents, and if we are saying the analgesic property, it's attributed to THC, that is sure. And THC is available in all parts of the plant. More proportion is resins. But if we are talking with resin, but then it will come under the legal purview. So leaf are also for having the proportion of THC, but it is out of legal purview. That's why leaf-based formulations we are talking more about, or even the pharmaceuticals are coming with the formulation which are based on leaf. So yes, right now, if the latest update we are looking for the analgesic point of view, then there are plants which are designed, even out of India also, the plants are designed with the specific amount of THC into that particular plant. Yes.
Dr. Suryanarayana, sir, any other questions?
Sir, one more question is there,
Yes,
sir. Sir, regarding tramadol and haloperidol and indomethacin, all are using for the relief of pain. At the same time, they were liberally selling then that pentazocine and phenylbenzene maleate and promethazone like this. So like that, why don't we have liberalization on cannabis to get into practice of our side?
Yes, madam.
The thing is that we are not practicing. It is not like we need some legal permission. It's if we see in DNC Act also, and if we see in NDPS Act also, leaf and seed is excluded from the legal purview. Thing is that so many things are coming in media and magazines or research articles. So we are little bit somewhere in confusion, or we are somewhere in legal fear. That's why we are not practicing. Otherwise, leaf-based formulation or the seed-based formulation, and that are wide number of formulation. Almost 357 formulations are there in which leaf and seed are mentioned, not the resin. No, not a single formulation quoted in Ayurveda in which cannabis resin is asked as a part used to take in that formulation. So if we practice, if we start practice, or we can say that we can choose some formulation initially in which the bhanga is in lower proportion compared to other herbal drugs or the herbal minerals, and we can start and we can come up with some case studies. So there is no such legal restriction for the leaf-based formulation. I think this is the question, or any other thing they want to ask.
Okay, madam. Enough. This is one more question, madam. Fabric made European countries, they are making one plant for fabric made.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
in India, which plant we are using, madam? In India, which one we are using plant?
Hemp, what we say, no? The hemp is a fiber species. So for that cultivation, I think Uttarakhand and even Madhya Pradesh, they have got the legal licensing for the cultivation and the manufacture of the hemp products. So that is fiber species in which THC is negligible. It is rich in CBD, sir.
So we need to understand, just to add on to what Dr. Swagata mentioned. So we need to understand, in fact, in Indian geography, there is one finding that the species which we are having right now in Himalaya range, that is Uttarakhand or like Himachal, gradually will be coming up, hopefully this year, is more beneficial for the medical aspect. The species which we can have in the central part, Madhya Pradesh or Uttar Pradesh, or maybe down the line South India. In fact, in South India also there are certain hilly areas and certain plain areas. In fact, this plant, there was one project, and we are involved in that as well. Gradually, when more and more states will open up, so all the states where there are plains and the central part of that kind of area where we can have these kind of species where the ratio, the content or the like starch is thick, the overall fiber and the overall ratio is more to get from the plant, that can be focused on those areas. But where we need to get more medicinal aspects, the more active and cannabinoids in the leaf or flower and bud, for that the Himalayan range and the hilly areas of southern India also are best. So I think on that note, when we focus and when we take it forward for this plant, that will be the good strategy and approach. And in fact, in the Western world also, they have seen and they have documented that if we are taking from the hills in India, that is one of the best species as far as the medical aspects. And the full spectrum, which we are always saying, full spectrum means the maximum levels of all the active cannabinoids along with the flavonoids and terpenes. So that is best in the Himalayan range and the hilly areas, because actually the problem is we can talk about Himalayas right now because Uttarakhand has approved, but the southern states have not approved till now. Maybe there are some senior people and some senior professionals are there from South India in this session today. So all of you can start talking to your respective state authorities and please ask them to at least start thinking on giving approvals on medical aspects, because if that will happen, I think Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, all these states have excellent potential to take this plant to the global map.
Yes, sir. And I think in many a time, we use many formulations without knowing that cannabis is an ingredient in that. Recently, I discovered that this Naradiya Lakshmi Vilas Rasam contains Vijaya. We use it.
Lakshmi Vilas is also having one formulation on the Lakshmi Vilas, sir, it is containing Vijaya. Correct.
Ah, yes.
But there are other.
So actually, the problem is, Dr. Rahul, the problem is we can have so many formulations where in documents it is mentioned Vijaya, but the problem is
they are
not including that in the formulation. That is the
yes. Whether we know they are including it or not, it's a question. Yes.
So pharmaceutical companies basically they are excluding where there is Vijaya mentioned, they are excluding Bhanga, or they will replace it with Haritaki, because right now, Haritaki. Or right now, sir, thing is that even from the excise, like for pharmaceutical to manufacture the cannabis-based products, they should also have license for the manufacturing and the possession. So that's why to avoid that process, they will exclude the cannabis bhang part, or they will replace it with the Haritaki. In somewhere, sir, for Abhav Pratinidhi also for Bhanga Harita is mentioned, because the name Vijay is for the both plants. So that is the glitch. That is what they done in pharmaceuticals actually.
Yes. And one more interesting question is posed here, and that is regarding the drug and drug interactions. That means if a patient asks these type of drugs we are prescribing for chronic conditions, for example, for rheumatoid arthritis or for Crohn's disease, for pain killing, whether they will interact with the modern medicine. Some of them will be taking HCQS or methotrexate or something. So both of you, whether have you seen in your clinical practice any drug-to-drug interactions happening between these cannabis and modern medications?
So one research article is there, drug-in-drug interaction from Ayurveda bhang and other drugs, such there is no such data recorded. Basically, we have not recorded many clinical trials as well from the Ayurveda side. So drug-drug interaction will be when we are coming with the number of trials. But if we see I've come across one article in which cannabis and morphine simultaneously it is tried. And it is published in a very good journal as well. Right now, I'm not able to recollect the name, but they have given the conclusion of that thing that morphine is having not any number of morphine therapy for the cancer pain. They are putting for a long time, and it's increasing doses are there. So morphine induced side effects are when if it is given with the cannabis extract, that side effects are also managed, and the pain analgesic potency of the morphine is increased by the cannabis. That article is there. I'll share that if any audience is required. With that article only, that my PhD's work start with. After I read that article, the morphine-induced side effects are managed if we are giving morphine and cannabis together. So, but that is in extract form. Both drugs are in synthetic extract form. From Ayurvedic whole drug and the modern drug, there is no such data recorded as per my knowledge.
Dr. Piyush?
Yeah, I've shared a list of certain medicines as far as allopathic is concerned in the Zoom chat box right now. So these are being listed as the severe interactions. So whenever a patient is taking any of this drug, please be cautious and either have a gap or maybe you can discontinue the respective drug if you want to start medical cannabis. And so basically maximum are either anticonvulsants. For epilepsy, we are using some like very common drugs like carbamazepine and all. And then there are some specific like there is one drug enzalutamide for the prostate cancer. And then we have seen for rifampicin also the antibiotic which is being like very commonly used in tuberculosis in our country. So these are some drugs which are there as a severely like you can say interactions are there. So please be cautious about this. This is one. I'm just sharing the another list as well. These are having some moderate, so it's not that much of fatal, but these are some moderate drugs. Actually, we have recently done one drug interaction session, so I've just pulled these lists from my PPT of that session. So just for your knowledge of all of you, now these antiretrovirals, antifungals, and all these are not having any as such fatal issue when you will give cannabis, but they can interact. They have a moderate interaction with cannabis. So maybe the cannabis can hamper their efficacy also. So ultimately, end of the day, you need to understand that whenever we are having patients, generally what we do is we reduce or we stop the allopathic medicines gradually, or sometimes from the day one. But if they have to take some allopathic medicines along with Ayurveda, it's better to understand and either ask them to check with their respective allopathic doctors. But otherwise, for the first list, please be a bit cautious, because especially for the anticonvulsants and the epileptic drugs, there can be certain severe side effects also if you give that along with cannabis. Otherwise, it is pretty safe. Otherwise, it is like pretty safe to use cannabis, especially as Dr. Swagata mentioned about the Ayurveda medicines. In Ayurveda also, you need to understand whenever you are giving cannabis, if you are giving any other Vishudravya also, like for example, you have medicines in which there is ahifene, afim, balatak, these kind of Ushnavirya Vishudravas, or sometimes certain Rasoshadis. So for that, along with that, you have to be a bit cautious, because what happens is sometimes the side effects like when we are giving cannabis can elevate or can increase along with certain other Oshadis or Rasoshadis or Vishdaravas. So that you need to ensure. And first, and also I have mentioned previously the Pitta Prakriti, or if there is a severe Pitta Prakop in any Vyadhi, Pitta Vyadhi especially, please be cautious on that aspect as well. And Pitta Shaman should be there along with the cannabis and the Oshadis which are increasing pitta in body. Along with that, if you are giving cannabis, so then also the issues can be more. So please be cautious on that as well.
So another interesting question in this regard came from Dr. Kavishri Kudamarva. She is asking, she is an MD in Manasaroga, and she happened to work with allopathic psychiatrist, and she has seen many cases developed acute psychosis and exacerbation of bipolar disorder after the use of cannabis prescribed by Ayurveda doctor. So she's asking, do you have any experiences? Both of you have any experiences like that? If you prescribe any subdued psychiatric problems, whether they will come up?
No, actually, I have already answered that question. The problem here is with not cannabis or with not like medicine. The problem is with the company. So now the problem is, as I said, in the cannabis industry also, there are so many companies. Although I don't want to criticize or I don't want to talk anything negative about any company here, we can have one-to-one discussion with any other doctor, because some doctors have asked in the chat box about some other companies also, whether Trilokia Vijayavati is good for this company or that company. So again, I don't want to comment on that. But the point here is, see, we need to understand, again, as I said, so there are some companies who are prevalent and who are like, you all are maybe seeing them, but it does not mean that their quality is always good. So again, I request and I recommend to all doctors, please have some samples first. Please start prescribing that. That is one way of doing. Second way of doing is, if you see some experienced doctors who are practicing and who are already prescribing medicines, so on one-to-one basis, you can maybe have a discussion. I'm very much open and happy to interact with all of you on one-to-one basis if you want the credibility of any company, because from last couple of years we are exhaustively using most of the companies, and we are seeing that okay, which company is good, which company quality is not that good, and that kind of interest we have, which we avoid to advocate or promote on a platform like this. But on one-to-one basis we can have. Otherwise, you can check the quality with your patients, you can check the documentation, you can check the these days these people have the ratios also for the proprietary medicines. They will share the ratio, that how much CBD, how much THC, how much the active ingredient are there in their medicine. So the THC should be at a minimum level which is required. If the THC will be more in the medicine, then definitely these issues which are mentioned in this particular question also can arise, and we have to be very, very cautious. And it's not about, again, Ayurveda or cannabis, to any medicine. With any medicine, with so many allopathic medicines, I have seen similar issues and similar cases. But actually they are clear that what exactly is the ingredient in their medicine and the dosage, and accordingly they practice. So sir, the same way we have to be clear in our pathy also, that if we are talking about cannabis, so it's not only cannabis, how much CBD, how much THC, what is the ingredient they are using. So if somebody is saying full spectrum, the full spectrum ratio or the permutation and combination of cannabinoids can also differ company to company and brand to brand as well. So at that level, till now, India is not that much evolved. Indian regulators are not that much evolved. So that's why I'm saying that they are just procuring the raw material from the wild cultivation through excise, and they are just manufacturing the medicines. But few companies have gone to that extent that they have done some lab reports. Couple of them have done from US, some of them done from Indian premium labs. So if you obtain those kind of documentation prior to starting in your clinics, I think that will be the best approach to start with. And still, again, you will learn on case-to-case basis. And I think after a few weeks or few months, you will be well informed to know that which company is good, which company is not.
Thank you, Dr. Piyush. And now comes one interesting question regarding Dr. Swagata has talked about the anandamide system as well as this endocannabinoid system. So it is present inherently in our body. So whether our body is creating CBD by itself from microbiome, why these receptors are present in our body?
Okay, so first of all, CBD is a phytocannabinoid. So that is available from the plant source material. Thing is that our body is producing this anandamide system came into the science because of that only, that our body is producing some substance which are mimic to CBD. The body is not technically what we say cannabidiol, that is not produced into the body, but cannabinoid like substances or molecules are produced. That's why what are these molecules? That's why the system of endocannabinoids it's been named like that. Basically, if we say the CBD, that are phytoconstituents that is available from the plants. As per of my knowledge, this system is named. Why there is one molecule mimic like that. Its effect are looking similar like the cannabinoids. That's why the system is named as endocannabinoid system. But basically, if we see this endocannabinoid system is also acting through CNS and PNS, and the receptors are then named as CB1 receptor because and CB2 receptor, that we say CB1 is from CNS and CB2 from the peripheral nervous system. And this different system which is acting and it is giving pleasure kind of effect, relaxing kind of effect, and this effect is similar like cannabinoids. That's why the system is named as endocannabinoids. But the technically CBD, that is a phytoconstituent, means plant-based chemical.
So just to add on to this, actually we need to again understand. So there is one parent endocannabinoid system. There are two human endocannabinoids which are already present in our body. That is AEA, anandamide, and 2AG, 2-arachidonoglycerol. So these two are the human endocannabinoids, you can say, which is already present in each one of our system. So these two are the endocannabinoids which are already present in our human body, AEA and 2AG, right? And these two endocannabinoids always bind with the CB1 and CB2 receptors, and other the same mechanism is there. Now this is the human physiology, it is the human normal levels which are there in each one of us. In fact, Ananda is a Sanskrit name which these Western scientists has connected with this AEA, because this is related to our happiness. Whenever we are happy means AEA is at an optimum level in our body. That's why we are happy. It's very simple. Let's understand now. So these are the two human endocannabinoids. Now when we are saying the plant endocannabinoids, so there are then CBD, THC, and around 100 endocannabinoids, more than 100 endocannabinoids have been discovered till now. So these are the plant endocannabinoids. Now what happens is, when somebody is, for example, having some psychiatric issue or some pathological issues are there, so these human endocannabinoids maybe are not that optimum that they are healing them. So that's why when you see, there are theories of yoga, wellness, mental spiritualities, meditation. Why we are all connecting with that is, basically these theories and these scientific aspects are elevating the AEA and 2AG in all of us. So the more AEA, the more 2AG, we will be healed. Many times, in fact, I have seen one comment, I think Dr. Gori, or I think if I'm just correctly having her name, she mentioned that she can have some sessions where no medication can be there, and she there can be some healing. And we have seen that in many healers, and all of us know that because we are Ayurveda doctors and we know about yoga, pranayama, and all these aspects are there, right? Meditation. So that is one thing. Now, still so many of us are still not having that state of mind, with that lifestyle, that we have good quality of AE and 2H in us. So please take then please take then plant cannabinoids, that is cannabis. So that will act same as Dr. Swagata mentioned, that will act same as AE or 2AG in many aspects to your CB1 and CB2 receptors when you are taking plant endocannabinoids, and that is CBD, THC, and other endocannabinoids are there. So ECS endocannabinoid system is the parent system. There are two human cannabinoids, that is AE and 2AG, and there are plant cannabinoids, that is CBD, predominantly CBD and THC, and many other cannabinoids are there. So this is the ecosystem, this is the mechanism you need to understand, and accordingly then there are further detailed maybe discussions in the later sessions we can do. In fact, we can have the entire discussion on AEA, we can have the entire discussion on 2A. CBD, we need at least 10 sessions to understand the complete CBD working in our body. In fact, endocannabinoid system itself is so much exhaustive and so much. In fact, yesterday I was doing one gynecological disorder session in medical cannabis, and from the starting of like reproductive health in a female till the menopause, and to after that as well, the entire reproductive system is directly connected to the ES. In fact, in the pregnant, by the way, I forget to mention it, pregnant females and lactating mothers, please avoid cannabis. Please do not give cannabis to pregnant ladies and lactating mothers. That is a contraindication which you need to understand, because it will go to the level of placenta. The endocannabinoids are found maximum in the breast milk, and we don't have the data right now for the pregnant ladies and how the fetus and how the child which whom the mother is feeding will get impacted from these cannabinoids. So please avoid cannabis in the pregnancy and the lactation phase. Right. Thank you.
In Kerala, mostly we don't have the medicines which contains cannabis, and most of them doesn't know where to get it, and although the practice of this is very less. So is it possible to give a detailed session on this any other time? The availability of the medicines and that effect, and these whatever we got right now is a good information, but it is totally very less in Kerala, and I think in less in South India, the use of this cannabis medicine. So if you give a detailed session in another time, it is possible, because it is very effective as per the discussion right now, and most of them want to do it also. So that Dr. Piyush ji, if you can do one more session or any information on this in another session, which is a little more detailed, we will be thankful to you.
Yes, Dr. Vasudevan, we will try to bring Dr. Piyush Juneja and Dr. Swagata again for a detailed review regarding this. So we are finally ending into a closure of this session. And finally, one final question to both of you. You are part of academy. Dr. Swagata is part of academy, and Dr. Piyush happens to be in clinical and industrial sector. What is the road ahead for cannabis in India, cannabis in Ayurveda? Do you see any fruitful academy industry collaboration is going to come up, and whether we are going to boost our practice through this? Are you hopeful?
Yeah, I think it's a very important question, Dr. Rahul, and I really want that more and more academic institutes and organizations who are involved in the teaching of Ayurveda should come up, and like I was discussing with a couple of institutes. So once the situation will be better, so they were saying that maybe we can have a session from you in our institute as well. So it's just, at least we need to start talking. Like this is the first, I think, webinar I am attending, and most of the doctors are from South India. So I think this kind of initiatives and these kind of more and more online and as well as offline events, we need to first talk and start talking about this plant, start disseminating the knowledge. In fact, I really I'm very happy, and I will be connecting with Dr. Swagata, because we need more and more academicians, we need more and more PG scholars and doctors who are from academic to talk on cannabis and to do actual work on cannabis, which is reflecting in our presentation, because there are very less doctors in India right now. We can count on fingers who have this much of knowledge which Dr. Swagata presented today. So I think we need more and more like people like Dr. Swagata and other, as far as the academic is concerned. Clinicians we are trying to develop. Still, as somebody was saying that people are still afraid, or people are still having some negativity about this plant. But yes, we need more and more positive discussions. The only thing and the only mindset which we have is, see, down the line, if you see after maybe 1 or 2 years, you will see this particular plant and this particular industry will be growing huge. In fact, huge in the sense that after maybe 5 to 10 years, I'm not exaggerating, but this entire industry can be bigger than Ayurveda also. This industry has that potential. I don't know if you people are aware that Pfizer, one of the leading pharma company of the world, has procured a medical cannabis company with a $6 billion in cash. Can you imagine that? $6 billion in cash means upfront the amount has been given, and they have acquired a medical cannabis company in US. So you can understand the potential and the strength of this particular herb and this particular industry, which will be coming up. Like many of these multinationals and giants will be coming up in India gradually. So, but the point is, as soon as we will create a workforce of Ayurveda doctors, the more and more Ayurveda doctors will be practicing, because end of the day, at any point of time, it will go to some level in allopathic as well, which already is there in US, Canada, and other part. But yes, in India, we have an advantage that the first approvals are from Ayurveda only. Allopathic will take maybe next 5 to 10 years to approve any drug we have active ingredient derived from cannabis, which they do for other herbal origin ingredients as. But the point is, the full spectrums, and also the better, the good news is, the researches are showing that full spectrums are effective rather than the isolates or active ingredients. So if in future they will have any active ingredient or isolate also, they will not able to compete with us. That is the Ayurveda full spectrum medicines. But the gap is knowledge, the gap is orientation, the gap is we need to be more and more focused. Sometimes I get this criticism that why you are just advocating one plant. We have hundreds of plants and herbs in Ayurveda, which I agree, and I'm not saying that we are not discussing. In fact, in our practice, each patient is getting the entire Ayurveda as far as the prescription is concerned, and there is just one medicine, that is cannabis, and not to the all patients. Maybe I have 30 to 40% patients whom I am giving medical cannabis. I'm not giving to all the patients, by the way. But yes, we have seen in our growth, we have seen in our practice, we have seen in our overall as a private practitioner of Ayurveda, that this particular herb from last couple of years, as we are exhaustively practicing, is giving us that advantage to grow, is giving us that advantage to more and more patients having faith in us. The initial few weeks, initial few days are very challenging in any Ayurveda treatment. And as a OPD clinic level, if we have these kind of drugs which are giving patients results from the day one, I think that is the thing. The way forward is to develop more and more academicians, to develop more and more organizations and institutes talk about cannabis, who do research on cannabis, who do training on cannabis. And on the same note, companies like right now you have Sitaram Group with you, and other companies in Ayurveda also, please come forward, because the entire medical cannabis segment and the companies are non-Ayurveda companies right now. So we have to get more and more Ayurveda companies also in this particular segment, because I think that is also required, because somehow we are connected with you, with all of you companies. Like I have seen so many doctors are praising well about Sitaram Group. So maybe they are prescribing your medicines, and they are like having your products in their clinics. So that faith and that credibility is already there with all of us as an Ayurveda doctor, with the existing Ayurveda companies. So if they will start manufacturing, and they will start having Ayurveda medicines with cannabis also, and proprietary and classical, I think that will also give us that kind of a faith or credibility, that suppose, for example, in future Sitaram Group is launching any cannabis medicine, so definitely all the doctors will don't have any issue, because they're already using other medicines. So they will have that same faith and credibility for using cannabis medicines as well. So I think the industries, the companies in Ayurveda, the institutions and colleges in Ayurveda, all of them should start taking this in a positive way. Ministry already taking some initiatives. In the last meeting of National Medicinal Plant Board also, they have discussed about this plant. So there are so many aspects which are going on. But yes, and the last but not the least, the practitioners, the clinicians should have a positive mindset about this herb, rather than thinking always negative. I think when charity will start from home, so when they will have that positive mindset, and they start practicing in their patients, eventually they will get like growth as well as results. And I think there's Ras Oshadhis. Again, I want to summarize and conclude my discussion. Ras Oshadhis and cannabis, if these two we can include with the Kast Oshadhis and Panchkarma treatments, I think that can be the complete Ayurveda which we can offer to any patient, any disease. Should not refer to any other pathy after that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Piyush. And from Dr. Swagata, please.
Sir, as you said, academic collaborations, what thing is happening if a PG scholar or PhD scholar, he or she is working on the cannabis thing. Right now, I think currently there is no project, but when I completed my project, I completed a certain group of patients for cancer pain to whom I have given cannabis. And I was having licensee to prescribe that under my project. Like till my PhD completion, I prescribed. But after that, when those patients who were finding the good results for cancer pain as well as other things like for the better sleep and for the better appetite, other things also. So for that, them there was no availability of the medicine. So it's before academics, sir, availability of the quality medicine that should come from the pharma side. That though if I'm discussing that this medicine is good, though the sir is discussing, but when a practitioner, a general practitioner, or a common Ayurveda person who is not manufacturing the medicine, he will always seek some medicines from the market or from the pharma industries, which I think right now some 4 or 5 medicines are only available from the Ayurveda sides. And the other companies which are coming, they are coming with the extract-based medicines. For a Ayurveda practitioner to write extract-based medicine, I think again there will be some glitch of DNC Act there. So availability of the at least basic common 10 to 15 formulations which are safe and for the safer indication as well. If it is available in the market, then the practitioner will or the academician will also start writing that thing. Right now, if the project is formulated, it will be having some span of 1 year or 2 year. After that, if somebody wants to prescribe medicine, so I think pharmacy should come up with manufacturing of some medicines, and if it is labeled with some quality or some quality testing is there, then I think all the practitioner they will start writing the medicines. That is, I think, my inputs for that.
Yes, madam. Thank you very much. So once again, my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Piyush Juneja and Dr. Swagata Dileep Tavhare for extending their valuable knowledge to all of us here. And Dr. Ramanathan sir is one of the most senior Ayurveda clinicians in Kerala, as well as a former CCA member and also chairman of Sitaram Ayurveda Pharmacy, was here. But he need to leave because he need to attend a patient. And now for representing Sitaram Ayurveda Pharmacy, we have Dr. Vignesh Devraj, who is in charge of Sitaram Ayurveda Foundation. He is here, and I invite Dr. Vignesh to have his concluding remarks. Dr. Vignesh.
Thank you, Dr. Rahul, for a fantastic moderation again, and also for giving us the idea of bringing these two genius, Dr. Piyush and Dr. Swagata, for this wonderful presentation. Dr. Piyush sir, this was a very inspiring and a thought-provoking session. And as I understand, in my personal practice also, I have given this, in Kerala, we have this product called Ashtakshari Gulika, which has ahifenum in it. This is fantastic with ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. And also, like after I went through the ingredients of Trilokya Vijayavati, I think in fibromyalgia, this can do real wonders. And I'm sure you're already prescribing for fibromyalgia, which I saw in your first slides. And when you look at the possibilities, if we can really integrate Banga and Ahifena into our manufacturing sections, and if we can really project it in the right way, also following the regulations, I think we can really take away a share of this opioid market. And as we know, you're saying that in America, the opioid is a big addiction. And it's not just in America. Recently, we read the article, paracetamol is we are having a paracetamol pandemic. So in such a situation, I think it's high time we really step into it. But on the other hand, I think we need to have more discussions with authorities like Dr. Swagata, madam. Madam, I became a big fan of you after I read that critical review of Banga as an activity potentiator in Ayurvedic classics and Indian alchemy. Such a wonderful compilation that you have put. I mean, I think we have to, one of the things that is missing in Ayurvedic Institute is, the academic and the industrial bridge. We have to bring it more. And that is why we are conducting these programs like AACHAARA RASAAYANAM, where we are bringing many thought-provoking geniuses, their works, and also we want to bridge that gap between the industry and the academicians. So that is where the future belongs, and that is how we will be able to take it forward. So thank you, both of you, madam, and Dr. Piyush sir. And also, I was really impressed with the way that you are promoting Ayurveda in your social media. And I was surprised you have more than 100,000 followers. This is fantastic. I mean, for an Ayurvedic doctor to do this, it's not an easy work. I'm sure you have put a lot of thought and a lot of sleepless nights in bringing up this. and also putting that system in internet. I only know what kind of background works have gone into it. So we are really happy, and all the listeners, please do check the show notes that we will be sending it to. We'll also send the website of Dr. Piyush Juneja, IndianVaidyas.com, where he has put a lot of extensive blogs, research, and also how to approach this. And I think we can take a lot of inspiration from his works. So thank you, Dr. Piyush sir, and thank you, Dr. Swagata, for this wonderful. And I think in future we will have to bring you both again, and we will also love to have a personal collaboration with both of you to see how we can bring in from the industry side. Another side is, running an Ayurvedic pharmaceutical industry, it has a lot of bureaucracy involved. We have to deal with almost 28 different licenses. And like when it comes to narcotics, we need to first get the NOC from the narcotic psychotropic drugs, and then you need to get the permission from the excise. By getting these two itself is a Himalayan task. And then you have all the other aspects of who will be storing it, and it's a lot of work. But on one hand, it is good that this bureaucracy is there, because it will only the people who are really serious will go into there. So that's something that we'll have to figure out and streamline. But I must say this lecture was actually an inspiration to see how we can bring it more for Kerala Ayurvedic practice. And as you mentioned, as we saw, with fibromyalgia, with painkillers, with immunosuppressants, with steroids, I think we can have the Ayurvedic solution here along with the Rasashastra. Now, as Dr. Juneja just mentioned, Panchakarma and Kashta Aushadhis, it's already easy. But once we add these two, we become a fantastic form of therapy for the humanity. And I think that's what we need to look forward. So thank you all. And this was one fantastic session, and all the participants. We'll see you all in the next Sunday. Thank you all.